Playoffs. Adam Oates scored the winner for the Bruins once. Ted Donato for the Bruins another time. So Buffalo was shut out in OT. They, of course, lost the series.
Well, will Pat LaFontaine score for the Buffalo Sabres? In overtime, they're going to need his offense. They spotted him in the third period once they were up 4-2, but then had to come back with him. LaFontaine and Alexander McGillney. McGillney has been hot tonight, but for the Bruins, this is the man to me. Cam Neely that has led the charge as far as the Bruins getting back to playing Bruins hockey, but Joe Juneau has been with them many a time, and has he ever been sharp tonight?
So a great start to our playoff coverage here on TSN in this 1993 playoff year. Overtime. Boston and Buffalo, and you got the best seat in the house. Here's Sutton. Carney moving it down into Boston territory, and here comes McGillney. Races up there, and races right towards the front of the net with LaFontaine, but Moe's going to hang on to it.
What a great skater Alexander McGillney is, and he has shown us in this game tonight that I think that he's ready to play. And put aside all those disbelievers have playoffs. And it's going to be important to the Sabres that he does. He just outraced everyone else to get to that puck in order to stop the icing from being called.
John Muckler has juggled around the Sabres forward lines all night tonight, as has his counterpart Brian Sutter. But right now he's got Brad May up on left wing with LaFontaine and McGillney. May a bit of a grinder and a plugger out there with the two sharpshooters.
Dave Poulin once again going to be lined up against Pat LaFontaine, but Andy Moog getting over to the bench quickly to get some equipment repaired.
Hey, you know one reason why May might be out there, Gary? Just in case there's a penalty shot. He's scored an Andy Moog this year in a penalty shot.
That was way back in November.
So maybe John Muckler's got all the angles covered.
Well, up front, the Bruins don't have any, or I should say the Sabres don't have any problems in playing aggressively against the Boston Bruins.
That face-off turned into more of a rugby scrum with the puck being shoveled out. Poulin was racing up there hard, but couldn't get there before Ken Sutton. Let's see what's going on in Quebec. John?
All kinds of excitement there. Montreal led 2-0 all the way. 2 goals in a hurry for Quebec. Here's the second one. Total point for Joe Sakic. Sharp angle. 47 seconds to go. Quebec gets back to even with Montreal. It is 2-2, dying seconds of the third.
Oh, what a dandy we've got going there.
Hey, that's the same as this one. Sabres blew the lead. Late in the game, Bruins tied it up. Up in the draw. McGillney tried to tee it up. That was blocked. Duras throws it in. Racing up there trying to forecheck, and Hines right into the net.
Throws the water bottle right over the net. Rpenter just steps aside. Tyne's looking. The referee, Don Kaharski, asking why there wasn't a penalty.
Go to the net, they tell you.
Well, I don't think when you look at it there that he was at all dumped. He was pushed a little bit, then lost his balance, went crashing feet first into the net. A big goal for Hines tonight.
He played 7 games in the playoffs last year with Boston. Tough spot duty. Poole and LaFontaine again on the faceoff. Back to Bork. And that's tipped up over the glass and out of play.
Well, Raymond Bork will be hearing for at least another day about the bad giveaway that he gave to Alexander McGillney tonight. Bork and Andy Moog have both had tough starts tonight, but both capable veterans that I'm sure will rebound for game number 2.
To count those types of giveaways for Bork on one hand throughout the course of the season. LaFontaine and Poulin again. They've taken every draw so far in overtime. Here comes LaFontaine. Gets it across. May charging in. LaFontaine and McGillney going for the front of the net, but Sweeney lassoed May on the way in. Puck gets by Sutton. Poulin up there with Juris. Here's Juris now. Hines going for the front of the net. Sweeney with a shot. That's blocked. And here comes McGillney. Cuts right in. Shooting. Rebound. Mold with a spectacular stop. LaFontaine will knock it down. Now pulled away from him. Here comes Juris just clearing it in. Bruins will make a line change. And the puck cleared up over the glass. Another play. Alexander McGillney does it again. Creates a great scoring chance. But that time Andy Moog just stared him down.
McGillney's unbelievable. I mean, he has just got some unbelievably explosive getaway speed and great puck handling skills as well, as he put that puck right between the legs of Don Sweeney and then got himself into scoring position. Watch this. Sweeney got caught playing the puck and not the body. Moog made the first save. McGillney, with his quickness, even tried to get his stick on that rebound. He won't be on the bench long.
And just before that, Brad May had a nice rush down the left wing, but Don Sweeney wrestled him to the boards. Took the starch out of that.
Sweeney took the man that time.
Here's Neely. Big guns out there for Boston now. Neely, Juno, Oates. Neely shoots it in. Weimer can't keep it in. Ledyard. Absolutely crunched. Loses his helmet and the puck.
What a chance for the Sabres.
Himliab right up there. Here's Neely. Schmelik back to pick it up. Himliab couldn't knock it down. Weimer with a shot. Neely goes after it. Neely cruising in there looking for a loose puck. Here's Sutton. Himliab bumped by Weimer.
Himliab is having a difficult time taking that puck off the boards in his own end zone. He's a right-handed shooter playing the left wing.
Sutton up off the boards. Here's Roberts. Weimer. Leach breaking in. Sweeney going for the front of the net. Oates hanging back along the boards. Couldn't keep it in. This is Presley. Up ahead to Patterson. Waiting for some help. Throws it across in front. Nobody there. Here's Patterson trying to center it now. He's tied up. Oates will start back. Knifing it out to center. Cannon back there for the Sabres. Wesley. Lost it to Carney. Presley trying to come in. Oates gets it up. Sweeney to Leach. Wesley breaking up there too. Here's Leach. Tried to get it back through the slot, but Patterson was right on him. This is Donato. Winds it up. Pure. Parking it for Holder. Holder gives it away to Juris momentarily. Now Howardchuk will start out. Cuts his way to center. Up ahead for Brad May. And offside call on the Sabres. Let's go back to Quebec and see what's going on. John?
They're in the overtime intermission in Quebec City. Joe Sakic and Martin Rosinski got the Nordiques back to even 2 goals, final minute and a half. There's Guy Carbonneau going down, and Jacques Demers is incensed because there was no penalty on the play. Regardless, it is 2-2, and we're awaiting overtime at the Colisée in Quebec City.
And we are in overtime at the Boston Garden. 16-17 to go in the first overtime period. Sabres had a 4-2 lead with time winding down in the third. 2 goals in a minute 16 tied it up, and they've been taking the body all night, have the Bruins. Ledyard got bumped there by Juno.
McGillney's out on this line with Dale Howardchuk. Brian Sutter has got Poolin's line out against them. McGillney is the dangerous man for the Sabres tonight.
And Poulin out once again to take an important face-off. And this time he'll take it against Dale Hawerchuk. Back to get it. May and McGillney up there. Hines getting it out to center, chopped right back in. Bork up for Poulin. To Duras. Out there with Hines. Duras to Bork. Poulin will catch up with it along the boards. Shoots it through in front. Duras took it on his skate. Down to the corner, Ledyard wraps him up. Here's Poulin, bashing around, gets in front, shooting! Big stop by Pure! Sweeney knocks it down.
Good job by Schmelik. He took his man in front of Grant Pure, helped him out.
Himliev up to Hawerchuk. He'll peel in over the line to McGillney. And McGillney just had to fire it in. Sabres were on a line change. There was nobody going for the net. Juno dips and dives up over the line. Wesley and Oates up there. Here's Neely firing a shot. Rebound off the board. Oates barging up there after it to Neely. Nobody in front. And Neely forced out. Jumps Himliev. Here's Roberts. Sutton. Up ahead to Sweeney. Over to Himliev.
Himliev's not afraid to get that puck in the neutral zone and dump it down deep. Something the Sabres had to work on against the Bruins.
Hannon sends it in. Patterson up after it. Couldn't knock it loose. Wesley. Sweeney watching him. Schmelik will dump it back in. Sabres have to clear the zone to nullify the delayed offside. Here's Glenn Wesley. 14:03 to go in the first overtime period. 4-4. This is Holder. Here comes Hannon. Presley is up there with him. Knocked away by Donato. Coming back with Sweeney. Donato bucked out along the boards by Schmelik. Patterson, or the Sabres can't push it out. They'll go back after it. Second chance, and this time Shaw can't keep it in. Icing waved off. Cork back to pick it up. LaFontaine comes over the boards. Brad May back out there too. And the puck is sitting loose there by May. Presley going after it. May is hurt. He is laboring to get off the ice. And that hurts the Sabres. He's been one of their best players in overtime. LaFontaine dumps it up. Hawerchuk exploding in on goal, and offside call on Buffalo.
Boy, Hawerchuk sure got in there quickly. Meanwhile, May is injured and on the bench, and he was just doing his darndest to be able to crawl onto the bench so that the play could continue. Looks as though he had the wind knocked out of him.
And all of that took place right over in front of the Sabres bench. May was attempting to keep the puck in the Bruins zone. And he took it. Here's Carney. McGillney, watched by Duras. Don Sweeney will fire it back in. Poulin knocks it loose. Here's Bork. Duras in front. Bork given a rough ride along the boards by Sutton. Bork still. Look at him hang on to that puck. Tries to punch it on goal. Gets a bouncing puck. Carney gets it up ahead. Sweeney. a couple of Sabres converge on it. Ledger tags it up for the icing call.
It was a good dump out by Carney, who just flipped that puck high in the air into the neutral zone. Something like Larry Murphy has the great capabilities to do with the Pittsburgh Penguins. And boy, when you've got a couple of players on the Buffalo Sabres, especially like McGillney, and you've got a defenseman that can flip that puck out and have it lay in the neutral zone, then you'll get some breakaways as a result of it.
Grant Fuhr making a miraculous save earlier in overtime off of Dave Poulin from point blank. Adam Oates has been buzzing around up there too. And Oates out to take the face-off.
Sutter hasn't fought this matchup. Cannon against Poulin.
Here comes Neely. Neely up there with Donato and Oates. Oates parked in front. If Neely can get it to him. Here's Donato to Neely. Oates looking for it. Holder will pick it up for the Sabres. Here's Shaw. Himleyev up there. Trying to poke it loose. Himleyev has looked strong in the overtime period. Had a good chance to score. And right now he's just trying to knock it loose. Looking there in the weeds, waiting for the loose puck. Himleyev centers it in front. Smellick shoots. Hannon goes after it. Sutton keeps it in. Not for long. Shaw up there for Wesley. And the Bruins will make a change. Leach bounced into the boards by Sutton. Gord Roberts hustling up there. Trying to center it. Tim Sweeney took a whack at it in back of the net. Smolinski couldn't maintain control. Played 9 minutes of this overtime period. 4-4. Game 1, Boston and Buffalo. Here comes Howardchuk. Patterson breaking for the net. There's the shot. Holder rifles one in. Great pressure by the Sabres, but now the Bruins will turn it around. Here comes Leach. Shoots. Puck rolling up on the board. Smolinski trying to center it. Bruins on a change, so there was nobody in front. Howardchuk up to Presley.
Some big saves by Andy Moe.
Now Holder just smoked one in from the left point. Ledyard up to LaFontaine. McGillney's out there too. LaFontaine dumps. Here's Hines walking in. Gets loose. Can't get the shot on goal. Carney loses the battle to Poulin. Hines is in front. Sweeney's up there too, along with Juris. McGillney drops it off for May. Puck all the way around. Sutton over to keep it in. And it just bounces off of Juris and comes out. Sabres have to clear the zone. Puck fired right back in. And icing is called on the Buffalo Sabres. 9:35 to go in the overtime period. 4-4 hockey game.
Andy Moe has redeemed himself in this overtime and making a few good saves. This is one of them. Watch Holder. He just drives that puck from the point. Andy Moe made the first save. There's the rebound that came out in front of him. Ooh, that was close to being offside, but Hines was able to keep that foot on the blue line long enough. Grant Fuhr played him very safely all the way.
And you see who was back checking on the play was Brad May. It was at a great overtime period. I'm Paul Romanek with Gary Green at the Boston Garden. And we are in overtime. John Wells and Bob McKenzie back at our TSN Control Center, keeping an eye on that Montreal-Quebec game, which is heading into overtime at Le Colisée after the Canadiens blew a lead late in the game. And that's been the script here. Buffalo in control until the last half of the third period with a 4-2 lead. Here's Oates trying to center it in front to Neely. Bob Sweeney drops it back. Himleyev fires it in. Not much in the shot. Himleyev going back for the front of the net. Sweeney circles out, shoots, scores! It is over. Sweeney ends it.
with a big slap shot right from the slot. He couldn't be happier. He was let go by the Boston Bruins last October in the waivers. The Buffalo Sabres picked him up, and he is one happy hockey player after that shot.
11:03, the time of the winner.
Sweeney only had 1 assist in 7 games against the Boston Bruins, his old team this season, but he sure came up with a big goal here tonight.
It was a nip and tuck game, and the Sabres take the final nip at 11:03 of overtime.
Now watch, Andy Moog was screened on this play. How many bodies were in front of him? You can hardly blame him for letting that one through. I went right straight through his pads. Number of bodies set up. Sweeney had all the time in the world, though, and that's what Brian Sutter will be asking. Why did Bob Sweeney have so much time and room to shoot?
And arrived to start this overtime. Jacques Demers upset. Pierre Pagé has a feeling, perhaps. Yes, we have got Mo on our side. Momentum. So Rosinsky at 18:31 on the power play, and then Sakic with the tying goal at 19:12. And there's a fellow who you don't want to invite, Jacques Demers, Rob Ramage, and Paul Stewart to the same party tonight.
Guy Carbonneau is on the Canadiens bench. Looks like he'll be available for overtime duty. Canadiens were 5-3-6 in overtime. Quebec 4-1-10 this year in the regular season in sudden death. And the Nordiques quickly send it down. Lapointe takes his man out, but icing is the call, and Haller takes a look at Lapointe and quickly downstairs for an update from Ron.
Thank you, Chris. One of our 2 overtime games is now over. We take you to the Garden in Boston, where the Buffalo Sabres have won home ice advantage for the remainder of this series. John Muckler, one of 3 coaches in the playoffs to have won a Stanley Cup, of course, with Scotty and Al Arbor, sees Bob Sweeney score the game-winning goal for his side 11 minutes into the extra period. Buffalo 5, Boston 4 at the Garden tonight.
Bob Sweeney scoring it for his side now against his former side, leaving Boston right at the start of this season and joining the Buffalo Sabres.
And he's his hometown.
Yeah, he's from New England, the New England area, yes. What a night for him.
Boy, 2 streaks coming to an end there. The Sabres were struggling, and the Bruins were red hot down the stretch. Yes, it's Stanley Cup playoff time, and anything can happen, and we've seen that here tonight. Puck flipped in by Lapointe, and Desjardins has it past Keane down the ice. In case you joined us late, Matt Schneider out of this game and out of the series for a short time at least with a separated shoulder.
No doubt the 2 coaches, Jacques Demers, had the toughest job to try to get his gang back together again during the intermission leading to this overtime. Pierre Pagé walked into a room that was pumped, and Demers walked into a room that was depressed, I'm sure.
Well, they said this was an inexperienced team. The downfall of the Nordiques would be inexperienced, but they looked very poised in the final couple of minutes of regulation time. And for Patrick Waugh, this game has been like his season. Brilliant at times, but goals that we aren't used to seeing Patrick Waugh allow. Ron Hextall at the other end has been sensational.
I agree with Don. Had the game ended the way it looked like it was going to end in regulation time, Hextall deserves a star for keeping it as close as it was, but that was the key to the Nordiques coming back to tie it, his goaltending.
Ricci wins the faceoff. Young through to Rosinsky. He had the first goal in this comeback. Rosinsky, the rookie, being watched by Daigneault. And he's knocked down, and the puck slides into the Quebec zone. Craig Wolanin. Gusarov, his defensive partner, returns the pass, and now Rosinsky. Former Edmonton Oiler. Dumps it in. Daigneault there. Off the glass, out for John LeClaire, and LeClaire's had so many great chances tonight. He couldn't get by Wolanin. Brisebois sends it in. Offside is the call. We've played 70 seconds of overtime.
These teams did not play overtime against each other during the regular season. As we mentioned during the course of the show, with the visiting teams dominating, winning 6 out of 7, but none of the games are really close. No matter who was winning the game, they were doing it convincingly.
Jacques Demers had to rebuild the confidence of his team in the last couple of weeks. And he had to do the exact same thing, as you mentioned, Dick, in the intermission, after playing so well for 58 minutes. Dion is on the ice. And oh, he'd love to score after taking that penalty. Offside again, the call.
Yeah, you're right, Chris. We both refer to the Dion, DiPietro, Brune line as being a bit of a pleasant surprise, I think, for Demers tonight, the way they played. But the wheels came off with the penalty to Dion. But, you know, the Nordiques, you can't turn your back on a team that has the offensive potential that this Quebec team does. You just can't let them give them an inch. The Canadiens did, and here we are in overtime.
Third best offense during the regular season after Detroit and Pittsburgh. Dion in the corner, double team there, stays with it. And now Huff takes it away and starts the Nordiques back. Right wing feed to Owen Nolan. Long shot. Patrick Roy handles that. Dion now, DiPietro breaking. Dion slides it in, Hextall out of the net, Duchesne plays it. Duchesne almost lost it to Dion, but gets it ahead, and here comes Nolan with Sakic. Nolan going wide against Odeline. Against the boards, Sakic looks to pry it free, and the Canadiens send it down the ice.
So you can sense that this overtime is starting. There's no doubt which team has the spring in its legs. And that's very understandable, the way it all ended in regulation time. Now we go back. A lot of things happened on April the 18th. The Nordiques come back tonight. The Sabres win. And these teams were playing in overtime on April 18th, 1985. 8 years ago tonight. Mark Tumpel, remember him, scored the winner for Quebec, Game 1. So they won Game 1 that night in the other guy's building. See if the Canadiens can do likewise tonight.
Ricci on this face-off against Carpenter. Ricci wins the draw. Young shot off the shin pad of Carpenter wide. Daniel ahead to Bellows. Savard also on the ice. Ryan Bellows has a goal tonight. Checked there by Foot, who has trouble with it. Now Bellows looking to center. Hit Ricci. Carpenter has it in the corner. Centers it. Bellows trying to come free, and out it comes for Scott Young. Young working against Brisebois. In front, Ricci got a stick on it, deflects it high. Ricci's lost a glove. And the Canadiens have the puck. Brisebois up to Carpenter. Backhands it into the Quebec zone and heads to the bench as the Canadiens make a wholesale change. Gusarov. Tied up is Rasinski. He can't get loose. Gusarov on the second attempt gets it down the ice. And up for icing. And Desjardins. Kevin Haller blindly passes it, goes to the point, puts it in front. Kamensky can't get it. Haller knocked him off stride, and Keane has it at center. Ahead for Don Fuchs. And Desjardins clears it in. Wolanin takes a look. Keane in on him quickly, but they do clear it down. We've played 3 minutes and 39 seconds of sudden death overtime.
Why coaches go gray? Not this one. Jacques Demers with the pass across ice in his own zone in overtime by Kevin Haller. Had he been listening to Don Cherry, who addressed young defensemen, I don't think he was addressing NHL defensemen, but he could have. When you're in trouble and in doubt, get it up along the boards. And he threw it across. That was a scary moment for the Canadiens in their own zone, but now they're going to face off in the Quebec zone.
Kurt Muller on the ice with Brian Bellows and John LeClaire. The Colisée is hopping. Daniel at the point. Deflected by Huff. It goes to the corner. Leclerc swats at it, but Huff starts back. Owen Nolan sends it into the corner. Huff is chasing it. Patrick Wha. In the corner for Bello. He flips it out to center. Canadiens are playing it cozy right now. Curtis Lecition rink wide. Joey second. Got the equalizer. Into the corner for Huff. Nolan fighting for it against Muller. Kicked it free, but it was deflected by the Canadiens and Leclerc. To Bellows. Steve Finn lost his footing. Bellows shot and Hextall again. Well out of the net to challenge Brian Bellows.
Big guy for Quebec continues to be the big guy in the net. That one might have just been on the way to squeezing through, and he managed to hang on. Bellows had to let the shot go a bit farther out, I'm sure, than he would have liked, as the chase was on, heading down the right side into the Quebec zone. But watch the reaction of Hextall here as Bellows lets it go from the rim of the circle, and he just hangs on a little bit. Take a look now from behind the net. Maybe we get a better idea of the kind of a save it was. Might not have been as close as it looked from our end of the ice, but there's an opening there, and he closes it just in time.
Pierre Pagé said that his goaltender has been his leader since the start of the year, and we're getting a great illustration of that tonight in Game 1 of this Adams semi. Nordiques try to preserve a home ice advantage. The Canadiens nail down a win they thought they had 58 minutes into the game. Desjardins hit by Lapointe. Kaminsky knocks it free. Sundin in the corner. Desjardins tries to knock it away from him. Kaminsky again. Slides it through. Steve Duchesne can't get the shot away. There's a backhand wide. Lapointe. Cross ice pass hit Brunet. Gusarov had pinched in. He could get caught up ice. Here's Dion with DiPietro. 2-on-1. Dion shooting. Hextall cleared away the rebound. DiPietro loses it behind the net. Quebec. Kaminsky on the left wing. Valerie Kaminsky in the drop pass went between Sundin's legs. DiPietro takes it inside the line. And now he has it again. He's been a spark plug for Montreal, but that pass broken up by Kaminsky. Kaminsky to Lapointe. Lapointe stops up, passes across, and it's cleared by Odelon. Looked like Lapointe might have had a chance on a break, and now offside called. And DiPietro down.
That was a tired line the Canadiens had. Paul DiPietro. And he slid in offside on the play. He created a giveaway in the Nordic zone. Boy, I wish we could have had a camera on Matt Sundin as that last rush came up with Lapointe carrying the puck. Boy, did he fly back towards the Canadian zone. Absolutely a beautiful skater. Now here's Dion, and he's down as the puck didn't get through. Close call.
That time Gusarov had pinched in for Quebec and got caught up ice, and the Canadiens with Dion and DiPietro had that 2-on-1 opportunity. Rusinski takes Keane into the boards, and here comes the first penalty of the night. 65 minutes and 55 seconds into the game against Martin Rusinski. And in overtime, the Canadiens get their first power play.
Rusinski, one of the scoring heroes late in the third period. Pagé not arguing the point, I do not think. But his team is shorthanded for the first time tonight. So on the right of the screen is where you'll see the infraction take place. And Rusinski's gone for 2 with a boarding call. And you see Stewart with the arm upraised. So the tongue-in-cheek comments of Rob Ramage with Ron in the intermission come back to us now just a little bit. No doubt the Canadiens upset over the difference in the number of penalties called. So now they get a power play chance, and the power play we mentioned off in the strengths and weaknesses, they have to get it going in this series. If in the long run, I still feel, Chris, no matter what happens here tonight, in the long run, they're going to win it because the power play has not been too good lately.
Ron Hextall will be tested. His team had the 15th best penalty killing unit during the regular season. Canadiens, the 15th best power play. So it's not exactly strength against strength. But Jacques Demers' team will take this opportunity. Brisebois will lead the rush. Bellows is out on the ice with Dion and Kirk Muller. Here's Muller dropping it back. Brisebois at the point. Bellows. Haller is at the other point. And Haller takes the pass. Shot. Hit the post. Rebound to Bellows. Had it hop over his stick with a wide open net. Oh boy, the Canadiens have had some hard luck around Ron Hextall tonight. And Mike Huff sends them back into their own zone. Off the post, and the rebound somehow got by Bellows. Stefan LeBeau is lining up at the Nordique blue line, and now here comes Domfus. Domfus trying to burst through. Checked off the puck, and Sakic clears. 53 seconds left in Rasinski's minor. Both teams make changes. Eric Desjardins ahead to Domfus. At the line with Keane. LeBeau also up front. Daigneault now at the point. Mike Keane. Down low, Domfus. Keane, the return pass, lost it. Here's the point. Nordiques had 21 shorthanded goals this year to lead the NHL. LaPointe behind the net. 47 watched by 47. LaPointe wants a whistle, and they're going to get the face-off. It won't be in the Canadian zone. It'll come outside the line.
Since a minute and a half left or thereabouts in regulation time through till now in overtime, they played 7:37. It's been a series of downers for Jacques Demers and the Canadiens. The two late goals by Quebec sending it into overtime, and that sequence there on the power play. Hextall beaten cleanly on the shot by Kevin Haller. It hits the post, goes out behind the goaltender, and Brian Bellows, of all people, off to the side of the net, and it gets away from him. Now here's the shot coming in from Haller with Dion there, and it's off the post, back in behind Hextall. There's the stick of Bellows. How about the bounce? Follow the bouncing puck. And it took a Nordique bounce right there. Bingo.
Well, you can see Brian Bellows' reaction. Shocked as it bounced over his stick. 7 seconds to go in the man advantage. Rasinski getting ready to return. Mike Ricci against the boards. He of the 10 game-winning goals this year. And Rasinski's returned in a big ovation for this Nordique penalty-killing unit.
Oh, everything's going the way of Quebec. The crowd is back with them now, and even a penalty-killing stint like that, of course, draws a standing O here, as well it should, in overtime. They've got it in their grasp, and you have to wonder if that last sequence at the net with the post and the Bellows miss, or the puck missed him, really, might be a last gasp for the Canadiens here right now.
You know, the Canadiens got a message from Jacques Demers before the playoffs about controlling their emotions. Don't get too high or too low. And it really comes into play in a game like this. 12:01 to go. First overtime period. Tied at 2. Savard on the ice, Benoit Brunet and Guy Carpenter and an offside at the Nordiques line.
Kenny Savard is on the brink of some kind of a statistical note for playoff hockey. He has 147 points. His next point will tie him with Brian Propp at 148. And they will be tied as the players who have scored the most points in the career in the playoffs and have never played on a Stanley Cup winning team. That's really digging on that one.
124th playoff game for Denny Savard. Here's Owen Nolan with Sakic and Huff hitting the line, and Savard makes the defensive play. At even strength right now as Savard takes it. You get the impression the Canadiens are killing a penalty and the Nordiques are acting like they're on a power play. Just the way they're setting up. They're going to the offense, and it looks like the Canadiens are trying to stop them. Huff in the corner. Centers it. Sakic shot wide. Huff again after it. Mike Huff, the veteran, gets it free. Sakic was looking for Nolan in front, broken up by J.J. Daniel.
Tell you, Nolan was in front, all alone.
Here's Brunet bursting in. Benoit Brunet. Hextall again. On a clear-cut break for Benoit Brunet.
I think we'll see on the replay that Brunet was in a little too deep and a little too wide. I don't think he had a clear setup at the net. He cut in from a sharp angle on the left wing right here. And he might even go too far to put the puck in right there. He would have had to get it right back at another sharp angle underneath Hextall. But give him credit for a shot and give Hextall credit for another big game saver. Well, that hit the side of the net. That's what happened there. That was the angle. Thought he had gone a little too far. Take a look at this. Hextall doesn't make the first contact with the puck. The net does. And he covers up on the rebound. There should not, I didn't notice if they clicked the shot for Montreal, but that shouldn't be a shot on goal.
Hextall played it perfectly, though, and Brunet foiled in overtime. 10:57 left in the first period of sudden death. Canadiens win the draw. Brisebois shot through traffic. He'll get another chance. Behind the net, there's Don Poos. Hussarov watching him. Don Poos beats Brisebois. Shot blocked by Claude Lapointe. Flips it. Bad clearing there. So the Nordiques get another chance. Can't clear again. Sloppy play by Quebec. Finally, it's out. And here's Sundin. Great speed. In. Hauled down. Wha hangs on. No call. And oh, this place is going to explode.
Paul Stewart doesn't call a penalty on Eric Desjardins. As we say in television, you be the judge. He doesn't get the shot away. That's almost penalty shot territory if you prevent the skater from getting a shot on goal. There's Desjardins with the stick in the midsection of Sundin. Down he goes. The shot isn't taken. The penalty isn't called. A penalty isn't called. And I watched Pierre Pagé. He was very calm. He didn't lose. I think he's just trying to keep things going the way they're going on the bench for Quebec. He'll take this overtime the way it's gone, with the exception, of course, of the hit post and the Brunet chance for Montreal. Well, it's turning into a long first day of the playoffs around the NHL. The Blues upset the Hawks in Chicago. The Kings over the Flames in Calgary. The Penguins, a home ice win. Haven't been many of those. Washington was a home ice winner. And the Sabres, that's the big upset surprise to me. They beat Boston in overtime.
Nordiques with the face-off. There's the shot just off the mark. Don't forget, Toronto, Detroit tomorrow for viewers Ontario East. And Vancouver and Winnipeg at Pacific Coliseum. Viewers Manitoba West. Nolan centers in front. DiPietro there at the side of the net to intercept it. Dion at center ice. Looks for help, but Mike Huff was there for the Nordiques. He lost it. And here's Gilbert Dion going wide. Duchesne watching him. Shot on. Kicked out by Hextall. Now the Nordiques looking a little disorganized in their own zone. Sakic finally gets control. Owen Nolan. Left wing Duchesne. Holds onto it. Centers. Deflected wide by Nolan.
Good hockey in the overtime, Chris. Lots of chances. Here's another one, maybe.
Here come the Canadiens. 4 skaters down the ice against 2. Kevin Holler's shot right on. Sakic off the board, so they do get it out. And Rosinsky hits to the bench for Quebec. Here's a lead pass. Kirk Muller and Adam Putt with the defensive play.
Offside.
Offside was whistles are being heard in the Colisée right now.
But 8 shots in overtime, 5 for Montreal, 3 for the Nordiques. And there have been some pretty good chances along the way. Here's the pass from the Canadiens blue line, and Muller's ruled in offside. Call was made immediately at the blue line by the linesman. Look out. Boy, the business of the nets being knocked off so easily has been a great boon to hockey players. And here's a Ron Hextall look at it. He gets out of the way. He's been in the way a lot tonight, as Chris mentioned early in the game, but particular.
37 shots directed at Hextall tonight. 32 at Patrick Roy, and it's tied at 2. 9:15 to go in the first overtime period. Scott Pearson back on the ice, and Pearson again hasn't seen many shifts tonight. He's out there now, maybe a chance. Scott Young, the shot, rebound. Pearson just missed there. Great save, Patrick Roy. Curtis Lasician moving in, centers it. That went off the skate of Brisebois out the other way. Ricci checking for Quebec. Scott Young turns with it. Young tried to get it. Here's Putt. His shot knocked down by Muller. Pearson to Ricci behind the goal. Young there. Muller with a great defensive play. Back come the Canadiens. Muller feeds it ahead. John LeClaire behind the goal. Lasician around the boards. And there's Kaminsky. Off the boards to Sundin. Matt Sundin. Another burst through the goal crease. Lost control. Back to the point. Kept in Willemin. Kaminsky down low. Watched by Haller and taken out of the play. Carpenter ahead to Savard. Stopped up at the blue line by Gusarov. Now Desjardins puts it ahead. Brunet. And it's by him. Hextall out. Sundin at center. Lost control. Sundin reaching for it again. Kick free by Kaminsky. Haller with it, and he lost it to the point. High backhand into the Canadian zone. Sundin watching Desjardins. And Haller. He flips it out to the center. Duchesne flips it back in. Nordiques make a change now. Out comes Sakic with Nolan. Desjardins for the Canadiens. Cleared it in, and that's deflected high, and plays whistled down.
That hit the light standard that supports the red light and the green light in behind the Quebec goal. It was wobbly. I wondered why they blew the play down if it had hit the glass, but it didn't. It was over the glass. And they're testing the light, I guess, to make sure it still works. That's a strange one. Never saw that before. I tell you, we talked about a lot of the inexperienced players out here at playoff. They're getting a real baptism in this one. Canadiens yelled that that play might have been offside.
Boy, Scott Pearson almost got a chance to be the hero. And he's seen only a handful of shifts in this game. We've played 12 minutes and 45 seconds of overtime. Keane at the line, Lebeau. Dumps it into the corner. Joe Sakic watched by Dom Foose. Nolan and Desjardins, or Daniel. Nolan up with it. Kept in by Lebeau. Dom Foose was in behind and they couldn't get him the puck. Now Nolan for Quebec. Sakic trailing on the play. Huff goes to the net. Can't take the pass. Stefan Lebeau. Vincent Dom Foose. Works against Duchesne. Centers it. Mike Keane gives chase. Sakic off the boards. It does come outside the line. Desjardins hit Duchesne with that clearing attempt. And it flips up through the Canadiens bench out of play.
I think Stefan Lebeau would like to have that pass back to try again. He was just a bit too soft as he tried to get it into Mason Domfus. There's Michel Bergeron. Told me the other night after the game in Buffalo that the series was opening in my Colisée. And they had their happiest moments and their glory years. Oh, come on, Michel, it's not that bad. This is overtime. He didn't yawn when he was coaching, I'll tell you that.
He's the only guy in the building yawning right now.
Now, talk show host in Montreal, does the color commentary on weekday Canadian French language telecast as well.
Do you think there's enough airtime on Quebec City radio to talk about this game between now and Game 2 on Tuesday night?
Talk about hockey in July, Chris. You never have that problem.
Well, drills it in just off the mark. Sundin taking Brunet to the boards, and they'll get a face-off in the Montreal zone.
Well, Matt Sundin has turned it up a notch in the overtime. He's had some terrific rushes, either with or without the puck. And it's the case of those legs that can just keep the other team off balance, but he is just something to watch. He's an absolutely beautiful skater when he gets in open ice.
He came the closest to making a controversial statement before this series. He said, with all our offense, how can the Canadiens check us all? And that raised the eyebrows of some veteran pundits who felt that the Nordiques' inexperience would be showing, and that might be fodder for the Canadiens. But Sundin's done a lot of talking on the ice tonight as well. Here's John LeClair. Brian Bellows. LeClair's backhand goes over the glass, and when you think, Dick, about the chances LeClair and Bellows had early in this game.
Well, there's Jacques Demers today, 1993, coaching the Montreal Canadiens. Now, when the Quebec Nordiques first came into the NHL out of the WHA, who was their head coach? Jacques Demers. And there he is, as they joined the NHL with the Whalers, the Oilers, and the Winnipeg Jets. Look at the hat he's got on. And after 1 year here, he went down and coached the American League for a couple of years and went back up with the St. Louis Blues and then Detroit. The radio man for a couple of seasons, and now he's coaching.
7th playoff year in the NHL, 36 wins, 35 losses.
Twice to the semifinals. Detroit against Edmonton.
6 minutes to go, more or less, in this first overtime period. Kirk Muller for the Canadiens with John LeClair and Brian Bellows. Adam Foote can't get it out, but follows up, and they do now flip it out to center. Bellows intercepting the pass, and Muller clears it back in. Ricci, Rusinski, and Young, the line for the Nordiques. And here comes Mike Ricci. Nice move against Haller as Ricci goes wide, centers. Young, right on, and a great save. Patrick Waugh this time came out to challenge Scott Young. Caught way behind the play. Ricci and Haller are fencing. And now Ricci gets out of the zone. And there's an offside at the other line.
Boy, Scott Young might be thinking I had the game on the end of my stick, and Patrick Roy came up big to keep this going with 5:18 remaining here in this first overtime period. 5:18 or less. But that's the best save that Patrick Roy has made in the overtime. Young on the left side, and he just cranked one. But Roy got over quickly. Good lateral movement, and he had the angle covered. And Young fired it into his pads. Here's a Ricci play against Haller. Back comes the puck. Here's Young. Nobody covering him. One times it. Quickness by Patrick Waugh to get across and block the shot. Scott Young, last season, spent his time between the U.S. Olympic team and Italy. Quite a switch for him this year.
Here's a chance for Dion. The shot, chopping at it, Brunet. And now the Nordiques get it back out to center ice. Steve Finn flips it in. Daniel chopped at it. It'll be kept in by Quebec. Here's a bouncing shot off Brisebois to the corner. Sakic behind the goal. Nolan forechecking as well. It goes past Finn. Down the ice, Duchesne scampers back to get it. Dion at center to Brisebois. He crosses the red line and will drive it right in on Hextall. 4:40 left in this first overtime period. 2-2 at the Colisée in Game 1 of the Battle of Quebec. Owen Nolan with Huff and Sakic. Mike Huff flips it at Patrick Waugh, and with Owen Nolan cruising, he wisely hangs on.
The way that these teams played through the first two periods, it was going to be the quickest game of the first day of the playoffs. Now it's turned into the longest as we look at Owen Nolan, #1 overall in 1990. Out of the Cornwall Juniors, 36 goals this year. But injured near the end of the season. You'll see his black eyes. They were a lot darker than that a few days ago. Collision with the boards here in a late season game. Came out obviously second best.
Boy, he's intense. He comes out of that dressing room about 5 minutes before the next period's about to start and gets ready in the hallway. You saw that shot in our intermission before overtime, and he was pacing for a good 5 minutes outside the dressing room. Right outside the line, Craig Wha-Ho. There's Kaminsky. And Eric Desjardins takes over for the Canadiens. Fous and LeBeau back out for Montreal. Sundin, Lapointe, and Kaminsky for the Nordiques. Lapointe played a real hard-nosed hockey game for the Nordiques, and he's the smallest of the Quebec forwards. He's had a gritty night, as has DiPietro, a small center iceman for the Canadiens. Here's LeBeau racing down ice, puts on the brakes. Passes for Fous, broken up. Kaminsky lost his stick and kicked it ahead. LeBeau back in. Watched by Gusarov. Keane in the corner against Sundin. Lapointe flipping it into the Canadian bench. Another stoppage. 3:26 left. That stick on the ice helped the Canadiens. Nordiques wheeling out of their own zone. Headmanned the puck. It hit the stick that was on the ice. There's another situation here with Stéphane LeBeau with a soft pass to Vincent Damphousse, who could have had a good crack at Hextall, perhaps. Pass didn't get to him. It's overtime here at the Colisée. 3:26 remaining, or less, in the first overtime period. So there's a lot of guys here who are playing in their first Stanley Cup game, their first Stanley Cup overtime game. Brzezinski and Sakic getting their first Stanley Cup playoff goals. A lot of firsts for the Nordiques tonight. They'd like to make it one more, of course, in their first Stanley Cup win. But the experience of Ron Hextall has been a big, big factor in this hockey game. Dick, you get the impression that the Canadiens have regained a little bit of confidence after a shaky start in this overtime. We've got Savard, Carbonneau, and Brunet out there now. Ricci with a nice pass to Scott Young. He's had a good chance in overtime. 4 goals against Montreal in the regular season. Young scores! Scott Young in overtime has won for the Nordiques. Series that Quebec has won it. It's how they won it here tonight.
Scott Young with the winning goal, star number 1. The Molson 3 stars. Patrick Roy is star number 2, and Ron Hextall brilliant for the Nordiques, star number 2.
And now that's the blues.
Next time you want to dye a Pepsi ring, all you got to do is that.
Now that's the right one, baby.
And live from playoff control in Toronto, this is the NHL Tonight. I'm John Wells with Bob McKenzie. We're getting set for overtime in Landover, Maryland. We would wonder, or at least I would wonder, and ask you this question right now. Will Dale Hunter score the overtime winner for the Washington Capitals after scoring 3 goals?
I'm not betting against him. Why would you? 5 goals in 2 games, the inspirational leader. I would have to say he's the guy that you'd want to put your money on.
Pierre Turgeon has a couple for the Islanders in the game so far as we head to overtime. 4-4 is the score. Turgeon has had a good night. So have the Islanders. And realistically, when you look at this hockey game, Hunter's game-tying goal came at 2 points with 2.6 seconds left in the final period.
And if you're looking for a guy for the New York Islanders, hey, why not Pierre Turgeon? Has had an exceptional game tonight, could carry on into overtime.
Nothing quite like playoff overtime, and we're going to send you there now to Landover, Maryland, the Cap Center, and join Jiggs McDonald and Eddie Westfall. Overtime between the Islanders and the Capitals on TSN tonight.
Well, we have to do it instantly without the element of time. Steve Thomas is in the penalty box, and I believe that is just for the next 2 minutes and 9 seconds. That's the time remaining on the major penalty to Rich Pilon. So as the band starts to get revved up, referee Paul Dvorsky gets ready to drop the puck to start the overtime period.
This will be the 3rd overtime of the 1993 Stanley Cup playoffs. The record is 16, set in 1991. 9 overtime games in 1988, the fewest in recent years. The Islanders shorthanded, and Johansson comes to center and hammers the puck in off the end boards. It bounces to the far corner for Papanka. Papanka trying to make the play, went through Hunter. Huey Krupp lost it back to the net. Casper Wright swings it around the board. Johansson held it in at the point. That's Papanka. Give him a little room to pass to Hunter. Back to Papanka. Risley is in front. The shot steered aside as Hunter came from back of the net. Risley sets up the point man. Hatcher. Now to Risley on the left wing board. Centered one through Krupp. Loose back of the net for Papanka. Hunter there as well. It came to the side of the goal, and Patrick Flatley gets a stick on it. Lifts it high around the boards to Mullen. Can't get it through Johansson. Tied up on the end board. But not long enough for a face-off yet. Now the whistle sounds for the minute and 14 seconds remaining in the penalty, the major penalty against Pilon. He has been some story. Not only game 1, but even more so tonight. A kid from Petrolia, Ontario. Outside Sarnia. Grew up in Wayne Merrick, hometown area. If you think of Wayne Merrick and the heroics of the Islanders, Wayne had a Stanley Cup winning goal. Of course, the most famous being Bobby Nystrom. And in the run of 4 consecutive Stanley Cups, Michael Bossy had the other 2 Cup-winning goals. This is early in the 93 playoffs, isn't it? Then Wha-Ho could take the face-off. Hunter on the draw for the Caps. Papanka to the right, Kristich on the left. Caps get control of the puck, setting up Johansson at the point. Now the Johansson drifted to the left, gave it back to Papanka. He and Hunter change positions. Johansson, after accepting the pass, shoots. That was blocked in front, goes to the corner and holds, slams it out of the zone. It hit the linesman, came back in, and now it's being called, and linesman Ron Asseltine is hurting.
He is hurting a great deal, Jiggs. He's not an easy guy to hurt, and look at the face on Ron Asseltine. He was up against, sitting up on the board, trying to be a non-participant in the play. Here's the shot. Watch this shot. It hit Healy, I believe, in the chest. He's right there. Boom. It hurt him, too. He moved slowly after that puck hit him and went off to the sideboards. It was then that the Islanders tried to clear it. Thomas hit Ron Asseltine, the linesman.
For a minute and 13 seconds into overtime. More importantly, 55 seconds now remaining in the penalty. The Islanders have dumped the puck down the ice right to Tabarachi. Johansson back for it. Hunter peels off, goes up the left wing boards as Johansson lugs the puck out. Got Krieger up ahead. He likes to slam it in around the boards, and Healy cuts it off. In comes Hunter. Healy to hold. And Wha-Ho trying to play it through Christie. Molotov got a stick on it. It comes back to Johansson off the left wing boards. In deeper for Christie. Centers. Healy the stop. Loose puck in front. Fitzgerald put it right back to Healy, who has covered it. 24 seconds left in the penalty to Pilon. He's gone for the night.
That's a good move by Tom Fitzgerald as he talks now with the goaltender, Glenn Healy. And the reason it was a good play is because the Islanders were all facing the net. They didn't know what was behind them except a wall of white shirts. There, Pavanka jammed at it. Now watch there, as the puck is edged back gently. A lot of coaches don't like that play. They don't like to see their team move the puck towards their own net. But Healy made a good stop. Then he got to get it out of there. Look at Pavanka, number 20. Tommy Fitzgerald says he's got the ice well covered. Give him the puck, let him get a hold of it, and stop the play. We can't go anywhere with it from here.
It's Hogue and Hunter on the face-off. Hunter turned on Hogue, and the Caps get it back to Hatcher. Into Dale Hunter, allowed to come out of the corner with a centering pass that went wide. Johansson plays it back in the net. Christie lets it go through to Hunter. Dale Hunter to the point. It's tipped to Hatcher. Hatcher fires one. Stick saved by Healy. The puck up in the air and recovered by the Caps. Michael Pavanka trying to put it around the end board and reverses things, feeding Johansson. Thomas is out of the penalty box. Hunter back of the net. Lost it. Huey Group slams it up around the board. To Thomas all the way down the ice. A whistle for icing as Fraidy puts a stick on the puck. We have played 2 minutes and 23 seconds of sudden death overtime, and the teams are at full and equal strength. Al Arbor deciding who he wants out there. Thomas has stayed out on the ice, and it's going to be Loisel coming out with Turgeon. Thomas will be allowed to stay. You look up and down the bench, you know the determination this team had, wanting to take the series back home, tied in a game each. 4 times they had the lead, 4 times the Caps came back.
I suppose a plus for the Islanders here, Jake, is that Turgeon, Thomas coming out of the penalty box, he was serving the rest of the penalty for Pilon. They're well rested now, so they're looking for a good shift from the trio.
They're out against Ridley, Miller, and Carpenter. Bobby Carpenter turns, put it in the skates of Ridley. Here's Miller, but it's cleared away, and Pasty comes up with the puck. On to Turgeon, driving on Fraidy as he crosses the line. Nice little burst of speed, a deflection that's turned aside by Tabaracci. Ridley brings the Caps to center. Beats Miller on left wing. Kelly Miller taken to the boards by Pasty, and Thomas wheels it around toward Derek King. Off his stick, however. Cote dumps it in toward Hunter. Norton steps in front of him. D. Thomas for the Islanders to Derek King. Now to Turgeon. Once more, Fraidy dropping back. Turgeon looks to Thomas. There's the pass, but Cote choked him on. D. Thomas makes the play to Turgeon. Ridley steps up. Ridley and Hunter to center. Ridley carrying the puck, gave it to Hunter on left wing. His pass is tipped and outside the line. No, they roll it. Now the whistle has sounded again. The crowd reportedly 15,421. A lot of empty seats tonight. As you pointed out, it's been a very enthusiastic crowd at the Cap Center.
There were a lot more here earlier, but with the Capitals trailing by 1 and about 4 minutes remaining, there's the puck as it goes across the line. There, part of it touched into the neutral zone. Pierre Turgeon, his play to the front of the net. There's the deflection that Tabaracci had to make a save off of.
Caps have already had 3 shots on goal in the overtime. Islanders, and a big stop from Healy following the draw. Vladimir Molotov gave it to Green, then to Loisel on left wing. Long shot up high on Tabaracci. Came right back to Claude Loisel. Down the board, Kasparaitis in after it. He got checked. Andres brings it into the center ice zone. Ellyn is into the Islander territory. Ridden into the boards by Molotov. There is Kasparaitis, the Lithuanian defenseman. Loisel. Ian Green comes to center. Travis Green back to Loisel. And jumping through the Washington defense. Galgarno has just come out on the player change. Puts the puck back inside the zone. And this crowd, thinking the Islanders had too many men on the ice, may be right. Oh, Bellini. Long shot is wide. Ferraro over on the left wing board. He had given the Islanders a 4-3 lead, remember. Huey Group puts it into the Washington zone. It's knocked down. Get up the left side. Murray lost it to Group. Can't give it to Flatley, and Bondra is there. Peter Bondra gave it away to Norton, who dumped it in. Here's Ray Ferraro driving on the defense. Puts it in the pads, and it's covered by Tabaracci.
Good move by Ray Ferraro. He charged for the net. He used one hand to get a shot away. We get the players back to where they belong. Here's an aerial view. There's the one-handed shot by Ferraro. Then he tried to spring the puck loose. Tabaracci got a hold of it. For the rest of the Islanders, charging in. There's Ray Ferraro. Good play by Ferraro. There you see Tabaracci has flatly tried to spring the puck loose, actually tried to jam it into the net.
We are 4 minutes and 22 seconds into sudden death overtime. They play till somebody wins. We know only too well from the last playoff series between the New York Islanders and the Washington Capitals. For those who weren't with us for Sunday night's telecast, it was the anniversary of the game that went into the fourth overtime before Pat LaFontaine won it just about 1:50 a.m. Easter Sunday morning 6 years ago. Turgeon in the middle, Thomas on the right, King on the left, Ridley on the face-off. Won by the Islanders. Derek King comes out of the corner, got through in front. Thomas with a shot. Tabaracci juggles it. He's got it at the goal line. Very close. As the puck juggled, it bounced in the air. Tabaracci somehow, as he sunk down to the ice, that move that goaltenders do so they can get a piece of the puck. They get just another look. Derek King mishandles the puck, but he keeps it in front of him. There's Thomas turning and wheeling it. There's the puck in the air. Tabaracci grabbed a hold of it. Now it's important that he doesn't let his glove fall into the net, because if he does and the puck is in it, then it counts as a goal. Look at the Washington Capitals finish their check. Boy, that was very close. Look at the good move by the referee. Now the live action. Hatcher moves it around the boards, and Miller able to get it on into the center ice zone. This is Pierre Turgeon with a burst of speed across the line. Ted Thomas takes one, trying to freeze Johansson. A glove save by Rick Tabaracci. Good move by Steve Thomas. Good catch by Tabaracci, but Thomas got it up where it was easy for the goaltender. He was staying back, getting a longer look. Here's the very quick Steve Thomas as he pulled into better ice and then let the shot go quickly. You could see by the reaction of Tabaracci that he had it in his catching glove and was not going to let go. Playing in only his ninth Stanley Cup playoff game tonight, Tabaracci. Steve Thomas has played 4 Stanley Cup playoff games than anybody else on the Islanders bench. Tabaracci played all 7 in the series between the Winnipeg Jets and the Vancouver Canucks a year ago. Vancouver winning in 7. Tabaracci was in the net, gave up only 1 goal on Sunday in a 3-1 Washington win. Tonight, the Islanders have been able to get 4 by him. They patch up the ice in the Washington goal crease. Mullen, Delgarno, and Green for the Islanders, with Kasparaitis and Troop on defense. Dale Hunter's line is out for Washington. Hunter on Green with this face-off. The puck goes to the corner. Okay, flipped it off the boards and went through Troop, and Green has to hustle back as Pivonka moves down ice. Islanders get it out of the zone. Delgarno on to Troop, right side to Kasparaitis. The Washington line cutting in across the line on the left side. He's given it to Delgarno on the backhand. Swung it in front. Green is well covered, but he knocks the puck away. And Mullen gets bumped around by Bondra, and the puck comes outside the line. Kasparaitis missed Bondra with the hip check. Troop closing back. There's Pivonka, and Mullen came back to break up the Washington play. Ryan Mullen clears the zone, and Fraidy takes over at the Washington line across the Cote. Sylvain Cote shot one off Mullen that'll end up in the Islanders zone now. Chris is going in after it. Hung up here with Huey Troop. Now Bondra takes it out of the corner. Dropped it back behind the net. Green took the man. Troop took the puck but didn't get it out. Cavallini shot right into the chest protector. Now the catching glove of Glenn Healy. Islanders have to be careful in clearing the puck around the boards. They've got to be sure that the winger's there. If he's not, you're feeding it to one of the most dangerous defensive corps in the NHL. Pivonka, pretty good shift. But the Islanders moving that puck blindly around the boards is feeding it to the point position. There's the play behind the net. Huey Troop looked up, then he wheeled it around the board. Back to the point. Cavallini, he wheeled it to the net quickly, and that forced Glenn Healy to stop the puck, grab it, hang on. Pivonka back there again looking for a loose puck. Hunter and Turgeon in the face-off, won by the Caps. Cote at the right point to the top of the circle, flips one, it goes out of play. Talking to both coaches prior to the opening game of the series about overtime, both primarily said the same thing, go for it.
Al Arbor a little more reserved. Go for it with calculated risk. Don't get caught. Don't take foolish chances. Terry Murray just basically saying, all out, go for it. Go as hard as you can. I suppose that's one of the theories as we take a look at the replay a moment ago where the clock was stopped because the puck was deflected. There you see the sticks moving up into the air. Glenn Healy still doesn't know where the puck is. It's up into the seats behind him. And I suppose when you think about it, you say you go for it very quickly. Most overtimes are satisfied or settled, if you will, early. The longer it goes on. Of course, if you spend too much too quickly, it could be a long night, and you might spend a lot of it in your own end of the ice.
Well, it's been 6 minutes now. Game tied 4-4. Johansson back into the Washington zone. Off the boards, but into Turgeon. Let it go through to the corner. Islanders trying to set something up. Turgeon with a shot that came off the pads to Tabaracci, and up steps Miller. 2 men back to the Islanders. Miller with Carpenter trailing. Carpenter steps into a shot. Healy to save the rebound. Healy has it again, and then it's knocked away. 2 big chances for the Caps. The Islanders come up 3-on-3. King is over the line. Drops it back. Norton with a shot. That's deflected wide of the net. Jeff Norton goes in after it. Tied up with Ridley, who's able to get it out of the corner. Now Carpenter moves it on. Hatcher with a feed to Fraidy. Gets it into the Islanders zone. Molotov over to knock it away from him. Molotov goes to the far corner and flips it out of the zone down into the Washington territory. That's Cote playing it off the board. Ferraro waits, trying to get the play back on side. Now dumps it in. The Islanders do regain the blue line as Fraidy goes for the puck. Hogue, Latley, and Ferraro for the Islanders. Krieger is out for Washington. This is Hunter with a pass that hit Ellyn at the blue line. Krieger, Hunter, and Ellyn for the Caps. Fraidy back on their defense, along with Cote. Molotov jumps up here for the Islanders, but didn't get to the puck. Ferraro does. Ferraro, the Hogue. It's knocked away from him. Ellyn gets checked at the line. Once more, it's Hunter playing it down into the Islanders zone. Molotov back for it. Up to Flatley, out into the center ice zone, but Ellyn is there. Caps get the play on side as Molotov makes the exchange with Healy. The pass out of the zone to Flatley. Behind Hogue, Hatcher at the Washington line. On the right side, Ellyn bumped a little bit. The Islanders get it to the blue line. Here's Ray Ferraro. And Hogue moving through center, put it on his stick. 3 Caps get back. Hogue taken to the board. Over goes Flatley. Continue to battle for it. The Islanders have been much stronger in this department tonight. The battle on the boards, but now the play is called, I should say, a whistle as it was held long enough. You saw Hatcher tumble to the deck.
Cross check from behind the fans field by Benoit Hogue as he steps off the ice. Close checking. See, the play is trapped. Washington trying to get it out into the neutral ice zone. You got all 3 forwards there for the Islanders as Flatley steps off. There's Benoit Hogue. Ooh, pretty good shot on Kevin Hatcher from behind. Looked like he caught him in the ribs from behind, so the Islanders get away with a little one there.
I wouldn't be surprised for what Paul Dvorsky wouldn't be shy to call a penalty. It's his first Stanley Cup playoff game, tonight's referee, and he has worked an excellent game. Oh, I'm sure you'll find people that will say that the penalty on Elon maybe shouldn't have been a major, but he had to call it. The Washington player, Cote, being cut.
So the only alternative was a 2-2. Would have given them 4 minutes, and they scored with about 2 minutes and 10 seconds into the first one.
Now the Caps starting out of the zone. Hunter checked by Mullen, but moving on is Cote. He's across the line. Swung it to Hunter on right wing. Dale Hunter with 3 of the Caps' 4 goals. Put it back of the net, and it's Huey Krupp starting out for the Islanders. Krupp through center ice. Left wing to Mullen. Mullen looks to Krupp. Goes to the front of the net, but Tabaracci was there to block it, and Dale Hunter, Pabonka, starts it the other way. Up it goes. Krieger into the Islander zone. Around Green. Krieger shot it off Healy's goal pad. Pabonka drags it in front of backhander is turned aside. It jumps away from Hatcher, and Green comes down the left side. Crossing over is Cavallini. Green protecting it. Couldn't get it to Mullen. Kevin Hatcher to Krieger. Up to Pabonka. Into the Islander zone. Pabonka to Bondra, and his shot went off Kasparaitis. Norton plays it back in the net. On to Brian Mullen. Mullen bangs one off the board. Hatcher takes over at center ice. Kevin Hatcher, left side. This is Christie. Nice little stutter step, trying to cut into the side of the net. Didn't do it, and we watch Kasparaitis and Thomas out of the zone. Now to King. King over the line. Johansson delayed it just long enough to put the play offside.
9 minutes and 17 seconds into overtime. Both teams willing to skate, willing to hit. They're both trying to end this hockey game. See the fans here. You do see some empty spots. I couldn't believe it when people got up to leave. The Islanders ahead by a goal. That was about with 5 minutes remaining in the hockey game, or just over 4. Always amuses me to think that people get to the parking lot, and with the roar, they have to know that the home team has scored to tie it, and can they get back in?
Yeah. A lot of folks with white, and of course the pom-poms that were given out tonight. Reminder to Islander fans, Thursday night when the series comes back to the Nassau Coliseum, the request is that you wear orange. Islanders trying to come out of the zone. Thomas got thumped by Miller, but Derek King gets to the puck. The pass out of the zone is to Turgeon. And by Cote as he dumped it in. Thomas after it now in the right wing. Put it back to the net. Tabaracci met by Derek King. Stands upset with that. Down goes Turgeon. Play allowed to continue. Malakoff at the Islander line. Checked by Carpenter, but there's Dennis Pasty. Goes up off the boards to Turgeon. Cross ice to Steve Thomas. Thomas in off right wing. Pulls the trigger, and that hit eye of Fraidy stick ends up at the seat.
Steve Thomas, as he goes back to get a rest. He's a little upset. Tried to get the shot away. Aya Fraidy, who is very athletic, was able to get the stick out, get it on him. Here's King a moment ago. As Tabaracci played the puck up the board, you could see King kind of gently running into him, try to keep him, pause him, hold him, hesitate him from getting back into the net.
It's been a good one, eh? Had to do it. We're midway through sudden death, first period. Each team has had 8 shots on goal. The Islanders sending out Holt with Ferraro and Flatley. And Washington using the Pavanka line. Pavanka with Bondra and Kristich.
They've been using Dale Hunter on a lot of the face-offs in the defensive zone. Of course, as this game goes along, have to leave him on the bench for some rest at times. Oh, very good. I think the edge has to go to Washington in the face-off department.
Pavanka wins this draw, but Flatley knocks it away from Johansson. Hatcher around the right side. This is Bondra. Pavanka and Kristich coming with them. Holt gets back to make it 3-on-3. Loose puck. Healy to stop. Another one, and it's just shot wide. In comes Johansson off the left point. To Pavanka back of the net. Right out in front, but the Hogue, and Flatley moves it on to Ray Ferraro. Ferraro across the line. Back to Flatley. To Ferraro. Knocked away from him. Flatley has it here. Hatcher took him to the boards. The puck came loose. Kristich trying to move it up the wing. Could not. Now Pavanka tumbles to the net. And Hogue closed the cross, but couldn't take it away from Kristich. Dmitry Kristich into the Islander zone. To Peter Bondra. Bondra turning, shooting, and that's wide. It came right out in front, and Flatley is able to get to it. Down behind the net. Norton left it for Malakoff. Up the middle to Hogue. On to Ferraro, who tips it into the Washington zone, and the Islanders complete a player change. Fitzgerald has come out on the ice along with Loisel. And Pierre Turgeon being double shifted on this line. Chasing the puck back to the Islanders is Dennis Pasty. May, Burridge, and Carpenter into the Islander zone to forecheck. Now they back out as the pass went to Fitzgerald. Turgeon up the right side, off his stick. Goes in after it. Tabaracci plays it around the boards. It goes to Randy Burridge. Malakoff knocks it away. Burridge gets it again. Up to Carpenter. Off the left side. Shoots. Healy got enough of that. Loisel steps into the left wing corner. Plays it to the line. It's held here. May works it to Carpenter. To Burridge in front. Healy to save, and he pokes the puck away from Burridge. Out comes Tom Fitzgerald, beating Turgeon at center. Into the Washington zone. Turgeon to Fitzgerald in front. Tabaracci way out of the net, and they couldn't jam it in. Loisel back in the goal. The play still going on. Here's Fitzgerald to Turgeon. Cote steps in front of him. Up the left wing goes Randy Burridge. Crisscrossing with Hunter. Burridge to Hunter. Hunter chase to the board. Lost the puck. Pierre Turgeon and Kasparaitis are there, and it's Kasparaitis bringing it out. 7 minutes, 50 seconds remaining in the first overtime period. Kasparaitis trying to center one. Got it through to Delgado, puts it behind the net. Travis Green goes to the left wing boards to recover the puck. Centered back to the goal to Delgarno. Brad Delgarno out of the corner. Looks for somebody in front. Shot is right on. Tabaracci to save, and he gets crashed into the goalpost. And now we got a full-scale thrust. The Islander defensemen stay high, not joining this. Making sure that the ensuing face-off will be deep in the Washington zone, and Tabaracci is all right.
Good play by Brad Delgarno. He took the puck, went well behind the net, came out, moved it to the front of the net. But the Washington Capitals, another area they've been more superior, they have been superior, that's in keeping Islanders and loose pucks from getting together in front of their net. Tom Fitzgerald with a chance to end it. There's the puck. Couldn't get enough of it to tip it into the open net. Excellent try. Royce Ellyn after the puck. It was this pass by Pierre Turgeon, who has been double shifted here, and that attempt, as Tom Fitzgerald got upended, he tried to bat it into the open net, and it was inches wide.
The Caps have had 11 shots on goal in overtime. The Islanders have had 9.
This is another look at that same play. Tom Fitzgerald was the width of the puck from putting it into the open net. And as Fitzgerald, now on the bench, gets time to think about it, that's how close he came. You hear the groan from the folks here, the fans at the Capitol Center as they watch it on the entertainment wall.
It's a game of inches, a game of skill. Thomas with King and Turgeon for the Islanders. Norton and Group on defense. Hatcher and Johansson, the defense combination of the Caps, will have Ridley, Miller, and Carpenter as their forward line. This is the matchup that Terry Murray has wanted and been able to get with home ice. Ridley squares with Turgeon. Here Turgeon won the draw. Norton at the left point. Centering pass was deflected, went right to Calle Johansson. Johansson down the left wing board through Thomas, but Troop stepped up. Now Johansson gives it away, and Turgeon is over the line with Thomas and King. King off the left side, shoots, turned aside by Tabaracci. Steve Thomas trying to come out of the corner. King gets to it, turns and shoots. Tabaracci, another save. Thomas and Turgeon there together, and they can't get a shot away. Kevin Hatcher trying to clear it out. Got that solidly. Up comes Miller. Across the line, Miller to Ridley on the left side. Carpenter to the front of the net, shot it off the crossbar, and it comes back to Hatcher. Hatcher plays it in deep. Carpenter with Norton in front of him. There's Ridley with a centering pass that hit on Fraidy. Now Pat Ellyn puts it in front. That shot wide by Fraidy. Norton bangs one off the boards. Fraidy held it to the line, promptly to the far corner. In goes Ridley. Carpenter in front. Here's Ellyn. A backhander is wide. Ridley out of the corner, looks to make the play, holding it, feeds it back. Cote with a shot that drifted wide, and Thomas will go to the right wing to recover. The Islanders get back in again. Ellyn to Fraidy is checked, and the puck squirts loose. Fraidy to the Islander line. He's got that big shot. The pass misses Ellyn. Steve Thomas moves it up ahead, and Ho chases it down the right wing board. Then Wha-Ho shovels it back to the net. Ferraro gets taken out of the play by Hunter. Ferraro trips Hunter in turn, and now Fraidy dives it down into the Islanders' zone. Not far enough for icing, and Pasty is back.
Hunter took a dive trying to draw a penalty on Ray Ferraro, but the referee, Paul Dvorsky, was having none of that.
Now Hunter sets up outside the Islanders' zone with a pass to Krieger. Back on it is Patrick Flatley. Played nearly 15 minutes of sudden death overtime. Ferraro dumps the puck in on behalf of the Islanders. Tabaracci out of the net. Gave it to Hatcher. Around to Kristich, to the line for Bondra, on to Pavanka. Pavanka driving on Molotov. Plays it around the big Islander defenseman. Vladimir Molotov now to Flatley. Up the middle, but not to Ho. Cavallini stepped in. Paul Cavallini can't get it to Pavanka, and the Islanders are out of the zone. Dennis Vasky putting it inside the Washington territory. This is Cavallini coming down the left side. Kristich got checked. Michael Pavanka and Green go to the board. Kristich handling the puck with a long pass to Bondra on right wing. Bondra in front to Pavanka. Vasky took care of him, didn't he?
A good check by Dennis Pasty. Played the body perfectly.
Now Anderson pinches in from the blue line. Kasparaitis put it in the corner. Sean Anderson having trouble getting control of it. Back up on his skates after being checked. A backhander. Healy, one more stop. Paula steps out of the corner, centers it off the side of the net. There's Kasparaitis to Green. He can't get it out of the zone. It's kicked out by Delgado now. John Anderson is checked at center, and Green dumps it in for the Islanders.
Washington, with the better scoring chances, seem to be slowly taking over some more of the territory, but the Islanders intercept the puck in center ice.
Turgeon with Loisel and Fitzgerald up front. This is Tommy Fitzgerald taking the turn. Comes to the right wing boards and shoots it in. Cabaracci leaves it back of the net. Loisel pushed Cote away from the puck, but Anderson was there. Fitzgerald into his face. Loisel gets a stick on it. Anderson controls and plays it across to Carpenter. Down the right side, working on Norton. Into the zone. The pass didn't materialize. Carpenter puts it back in the Islanders zone offside. Clock is stopped with 3 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the first sudden death overtime period.
Ruling pace in this hockey game. Bobby Carpenter has had 2 outstanding scoring opportunities, and Glenn Healy has been spectacular as he's been through 2+ games now as we wind down in the first overtime period. But the pace has been tremendous. I see players now, a moment ago, Pierre Turgeon, who has been double-shifted twice in this overtime. He had to go to the bench with the Washington Capitals going into the Islanders' end of the ice. Known as a no-no, and in overtime an absolute no-no, but he knew he had no choice. He had nothing left. He was spent. He was out of gas. He needed at least a minute, half a minute, anything on the bench to regroup, to get his strength back, and in doing so, Washington got a scoring opportunity.
The Islanders are going home right after this game, no matter what happens. The Caps will practice here tomorrow, travel to Long Island tomorrow afternoon. 4-4 score as Wha-Ho plays the puck up to Flatley. Kasparaitis takes the pass, trying to split the defense. Gets hauled off his skates by Hunter, and there'll be a penalty. Dale Hunter is going to be penalized.
I don't suppose we could get a penalty shot out of it. Wouldn't that be something in overtime hockey in the playoffs? But Darius Kasparaitis broke up the middle of the ice. He was fed the puck. He was in a straight line for the net. Kasparaitis, number 11, there he goes. Dale Hunter. Who else? Who covers more ice? Hunter reaches out, grabs a hold of him. Darius Kasparaitis trying to make a play with Fraidy bearing down on him. Didn't get the shot away, but a penalty to Dale Hunter there as he reaches out, grabs Kasparaitis. Kasparaitis goes down.
34.
Dale Hunter will go off.
Time of the penalty, 16:34 of overtime. Well, an area that the Islanders haven't had any success in this series with is the power play. This is their 5th opportunity of this game. They had 5 in the opening game of the series. And Al Arbour has asked for his 32nd timeout. Rick Cabaracci goes all the way back to the Washington bench for some refreshment. You see the instructions here from Al Arbour. Lorne Henning, one of the 2 assistants with him. The other assistant coach, Rick Green, played 6 seasons for the Washington Capitals before that historic trade between Washington and Montreal at the beginning of David Poyle's tenure as general manager here. Our congratulations to the son of Toronto Maple Leaf president and general manager Cliff Fletcher. His son, Chuck Charles, if you will, has become the assistant to the general manager of the Florida Panthers. Well done, Charles.
13-10, the shots on goal here in the overtime. A lot of shots on goal as Rick Cabaracci, and that's in favor of the Washington Capitals. As Cabaracci gets ready, timeout that the Islanders had called. So with 3 minutes and 26 seconds remaining, the Islanders get a power play opportunity. Be a great time for them to finally get a power play goal in this playoff series. They were blanked in the first game, blanked through 3 periods of this hockey game.
Islanders have had 50 shots on goal so far. This is Norton, left side to Turgeon, to Thomas. He just missed the net. King sets up back to the goal, around to Thomas.
Steve Thomas looks to Molotov, can't get it to him, and the Islanders will have to chase it. Ridley is up screaming at referee Dvorsky about the way he'd been knocked down. We watch Molotov come across the line, trying to go around Hatcher. The two of them end up in the corner, and the puck will come back toward Norton. Norton shoveled it in a little deeper. Thomas gets bumped by Kevin Hatcher. Norton holds it at the line. Fires one up high on Tabaracci. Johansson slams it around the board. Molotov kept it in, giving it to Turgeon. Thomas back in behind the net. King being bothered in front. Thomas couldn't wrap it in as Turgeon found him. Now it comes through and all the way back to Molotov at the right point. Over to Norton. Into Thomas. Thomas backs up a little. Ridley on him, but without a stick. And Molotov couldn't hold the pass at the blue line. 57 seconds in this power play as King comes over the blue line. Held on to the puck. Got away from Miller. Plays it into Thomas. Back to the net intended for Turgeon. Johansson on him. Now Hatcher picks him up. Turgeon feeds the left point. This is Molotov with a drive. Gloved and held by Rick Tabaracci. Again, great penalty killing by the Washington Capitals. They're keeping the puck on the outside. The Islanders get one easy shot that Tabaracci just picked off with the catching glove, making it look easy. Mistakes are made when you get tired. Players don't have the jump. A lot easier to kill the penalty when you're tired than it is to get a goal on a power play. And the Islanders, as I pointed out, 0 for 5 in game 1, 0 for 4 through the first 3 periods of this hockey game, and not looking any closer. 42 seconds remaining in Hunter's hooking penalty. They've had 2 shots on goal with this power play. Al Arbor has sent Holt, Turgeon, and Flatley out with Troop on the left point and now Norton on the right. It is tense. Overtime hockey. What the Islanders haven't been able to do, Jig, is get the puck at the point position and have 2 or 3 guys standing around, at least 2 in front of the net looking for a rebound. That shot that came in a moment ago, there wasn't an Islander within 10 feet of the front of the net. Turgeon won the draw. Troop fires from the point. That skips off the stick. Way up into the seats. Now 37 seconds in Hunter's hooking penalty. I think back to the first power play that the Islanders had in this hockey game. That was in the first period. Cavallini took a penalty at 7:20, and the Islanders never looked better on the power play. They had 3 outstanding scoring opportunities that Tabaracci took away. Here, Turgeon, who has been excellent in the face-off department, wins another one. Norton, and just too much time. Huey Cote. Too much of a wind-up. There's the shot, but where are the Islanders? If that puck gets through and Tabaracci can't control the rebound, there's only white sweaters there. Washington Capitals to clear it away. Well, now the Islanders and the blue sweaters will have to set up deep in their own zone with just under 30 seconds to go in the power play. Norton gets them into center with 24 seconds to Troop. Off right wing, Tabaracci to save, and Fraidy can't get it out. This is Turgeon, unable to move it to Flatley in time. Bobby Carpenter gets checked in his own zone. Flatley to Hogue in the corner. Turgeon battling there as well. And the cap, Bobby Carpenter, has played it into the penalty bench. 6 seconds remaining in the power play. The Islanders, if they can win the face-off, will get possibly one more opportunity with the man advantage. 52 shots for the Islanders. They've got 3 shots on goal in this power play, but none of them effective. Now Holt, Ferraro, and Flatley with Molotov and Pasty will be the setup for the Islanders. Cavallini is going back to the Washington bench. Fraidy and Cote will be the defense pairing, with Miller and Ridley as the forward. Referee has been giving both coaches a little bit of liberty in changing, giving the players a little longer to make the changes, which isn't the worst thing under the circumstances. Suppose these particular ones, it's in the best interest of the Islanders. They get the power play unit with an extra breath, but Pasty is out with Molotov. Ferraro trying to win the face-off. He is against Ridley on this draw. The puck popped loose into the skates of Flatley. Centered. Holt couldn't jam it in. Cote swings it around the board. Molotov at the left point. Went to center one. Teams are at full strength again. Hunter tipped Miller's pass deep into the Islanders zone. Pasty back on it here. Hunter chased him back to the net. At Patrick Flatley shovels it behind the goal, away from Molotov. A stuff-in attempt. Oh, and a stop by Healy, a jam up. The referee in great position, no signal. I don't believe that Glenn Healy was able to keep the puck out of the net. And you just saw Vladimir Molotov take exception to Ellyn's presence. Pushing number 19 away from the front of the net solidly. Almost get the feeling that the whistle hadn't blown the way the Islanders reacted to Ellyn, and they just jammed him over backwards. Molotov in pursuit of the puck couldn't get a hold of it. From the side of the net, the pass to Hunter. Look at the stop by Healy. I don't believe. And then when Hunter does what he does best, tried to jam it in, they didn't get it in. Beautiful play, the original play by Krieger from the side of the net. There's Krieger as he passed it. There's the shot. What a stop by Healy. He reached out, got a hold of it, but under the force, the full force of Hunter, Healy was able to hang on the puck. Let's take another look from a reverse angle. Glenn Healy with the save of the hockey game right here.
Fans are yelling that the puck was in the net. What they're seeing on the video replay board here is what you've seen at home, and that is the black tape portion of the stick in the back of the net.
Yeah, they're getting all excited because you'll remember back in this hockey game, 30 seconds after a puck did enter the net, it was given to the Washington Capitals. Ron Asseltine has gone off the ice, Jake. He threw his whistle, or he threw something and stormed off the ice. Here's the shot by Hunter. Watch Healy as he stretches out. He got his stick on it. Now he's got his glove on it, and that should be the end of the play, but Hunter is allowed to go to the net and jam. And how Healy, look at the referee, what a job. He's in the right position. He doesn't see the puck, so there's no goal. He's done an excellent job in this hockey game. Paul Dvorsky, as well as the linesman. Here comes Ron Asseltine coming back out. I guess he broke his whistle, trying to make sure that the players heard it. They were blowing it.
And to the credit of Paul Dvorsky, like several of the senior referees, Andy Van Hellemond in particular, the time was right to go and talk to Terry Murray. Explain exactly why the goal, or why what these Caps fans thought was an overtime goal wasn't.
Fans are waiting for them to go to the replay. They want a repeat of the replay that got them a goal back in the third period when Kristich on a backhand.
Hunter on the draw for the Caps, but the Islanders have the puck, and Darius Kasparaitis has cleared it out. Less than a minute to go in the first sudden death overtime, and the puck out of play at the New York Islanders bench. Wouldn't you know that these two teams couldn't get it over with early?
They've both been trying some great stops at both ends of the ice. A hockey game that has had 4 periods of everything you could ask for.
And the scene shifts to the Nassau Coliseum Thursday night. Come out wearing your very best orange studs. Overalls, whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as it's orange, be there and cheer them on. The Islanders and the Caps, Thursday and again Saturday night. Games 3 and 4 of this best of 7 series on Long Island. Kasparaitis dumps the puck in, but it hit Hatcher. Kevin Hatcher turns away from Brad Delgado, is picked up here by Mullen. Hatcher into the center ice zone, partially checked, but still able to dump the puck in. Kasparaitis and a big hit. Oh man, did he take Krieger into the board. He just pulled up long enough and then really hammered Krieger. And again a scuffle.
Both of the Washington Capital defensemen, Kevin Hatcher and Kalle Johansson, stay away from the shoving. Krieger went heavily into the boards. It looked as though he and Kasparaitis were going to go shoulder to shoulder. Now it looks like Dale Hunter with some words. It'd be interesting to hear what Darius Kasparaitis. Here's the shoulder to shoulder. Boom. Krieger loses his balance, falls heavily into the boards. He got his arms up in time to protect himself. It was the shot that Kasparaitis gave him as he came off the board, recoiling, that the fans got upset about.
Kasparaitis was trying to put Krieger's face on the picture of the Washington Post ad in the end boards there. Boy, the Islanders had a lot of laughs about a picture in the New York Daily News today identifying
Ray Ferraro as Huey Croup. Huey said, here I am, the biggest guy on the team, and the little guy, Pee-wee, that's my name. They might be thinking about calling one another's attorneys about that. Green flips the puck off his stick into the zone, taken to the boards by Dmitry Kristich, and Hatcher will clear it high in the air. Back goes Vladimir Molotov. Down to the final 19 seconds of overtime. Vondra and Pasty were having a little tug of war.
Two-line offside pass as Travis Green tried to get loose up through the center of the ice. The fans are reacting to Vondra getting tied up with Vasky, tugging at each other with hockey sticks.
Face off above the circles in the Islander end of the ice. There's the time remaining in the first sudden death overtime. The reason we're in overtime is a goal by Dale Hunter on a power play at 19:57 of the third period. Travis Green and Michael Pavanka facing off here. Green gets the stick down and wins the draw from Pavanka. Pasty checked on the end boards, but Molotov is there, and it goes around to hold. Up to Travis Green, and the Islanders will get it out of there. Not a whole lot of time as it ends up inside the Washington zone, and the overtime, first 20 minutes, has been written into the book.
An exciting overtime period. End-to-end hockey. Some of the players milling around. Travis Green with a few things to say to a couple of the Washington Capitals as he skates off the ice to the Islander dressing room. Take a look at the Islanders as they head for a well-deserved and needed rest here between the first overtime as they get ready for the second one. All right, everywhere. And with him moving to the back of the net to be able to peer through the net. Yes, he takes the view of the goal judge away, but it's more important that he sees what's going on than the goal judge under those circumstances.
Now the second sudden death overtime gets underway. Kevin Hatcher giving the puck to Johansson. The Islanders started Thomas, Turgeon, and King with Pasty and Molotov on defense. As Pasty playing it around from behind the net. Hatcher covering the right point, gets a stick on it. Shot one off Pasty's skate. That is Pasty reaching in for it. Nudged it away from Miller. Carpenter backing him up at center. Didn't get it into the zone, and Derek King dumps it down to the Washington line where Carpenter knocked it out of the air with a high stick. The play has been called back, and they'll face it off at the Washington zone.
Interesting. Bob Carpenter, who talked to us at the end of the first period, not bashful about saying how poorly things got started here as he came back to play for the Washington Capitals, the team that he started out with as a rookie and set several records at the time, that things weren't going well. And then they put him on a checking line, and he may have elongated his career here with the Washington Capitals because of it.
And very well may have. Let's see what the expansion draft and protection list brings about. Who goes where when the two new teams at Anaheim and Florida get their players late in June. Right now, we've got to decide the winner of this. Huey Croup, who's out on defense with Kasparaitis, holds the puck back of the net. Turgeon comes to the left, Kasparaitis to the right. Kasparaitis took the pass from Croup, sneaks down the boards, across the Washington line, pulled up by Fraidy, centered, couldn't get it to Thomas. Tabaracci's clearing effort, finds the puck moving out towards center ice. Huey Croup back to Derek King, sliding with Turgeon. Here's a break for Carpenter. Croup steps over in front of him. Carpenter shot, big rebound off Healy's pads, and Norton clears the zone. Through Cote, rather. And the Caps will go back as the Islanders change up. Caps are going to do the same. Cote, Fraidy. A Schrader to the Islander line where it was poke checked away by Flatley, only to have Christie shoot it in. Norton will take it back to the net. Norton getting away from Vondra. Up the boards it goes to Flatley. Looks to Hogue, dumps it in. Cote knocks it down. Hogue jabbing at it. It goes to Vondra. And the Caps are safely out into the center ice area. Into the Islander zone. Cavallini looks to Pavanka. Cavallini gets decked by Pasty, and the puck, meantime, is loose behind the Islanders' net. Patrick Flatley stepped away from Michael Pavanka. Flatley with Hogue moving through the center ice area. Flatley carrying the puck. Hogue drives to the front of the net. Flatley centering pass through everybody and right to Christie. Dmitry Kristich flips it up ahead. Vondra's offside.
Fans are screaming for a penalty. Bondra trying to fight away from Molokov. One of those laid-out passes, but he was offside by a couple of feet. Very speedy, Peter Bondra. He goes to the net very well, and you can see there that he and Molokov got tied up.
This game now becomes the second longest in Islander history. 128 minutes and 46 seconds is what it took on that wonderful night. Easter Eve and on into Easter Sunday back in 87. This game gone to 81 minutes and 23 seconds, as you see, surpassing the overtime game of 1980 against Buffalo and that 1990 overtime game against the New York Rangers. One in which Kenny Morrow scored that goal. No, I'm sorry, that was not the Morrow goal, was it? Long shot here by Hatcher. Hatcher moving in after the puck. Molokov took him to the board, knocked the stick out of Hatcher's hands. It comes right through in front. Healy went one way, the puck the other. Big break for the Islanders. Brian Mullen moves it around the end boards for Kasparaitis. Ellyn pulls up in front of Healy. Kasparaitis checking his options. He likes to give it to Molokov. Vladimir Molokov to Brian Mullen. Mullen spotting Green, can't get it to him at the blue line, and here's Bellini for the Caps. Up off the boards, but too far for Hunter. It goes wide of the net. Icing call is made against Washington.
Both teams trying to spring somebody loose, trying to get a breakaway. That can be costly. That can backfire on you if it's intercepted. You could see Bondra, remember when he was checked by Molokov that time, the Islanders trying to find somebody open up the middle of the ice. Unsuccessful. There's Dale Hunter as he put the puck in the front of the net. Look at the stop here. Healy moving in front was Todd Krieger. He got the backhand shot away. Healy had to stay back into his net, making the stop off a backhand shot by Todd Krieger.
And that note we just showed you on the overtime game of April 9th, 1990, it was Brent Sutter who scored just before the 1-minute mark of the second overtime period. Here we await the winner of this game as Turgeon centers for King and Thomas. Roop and Norton on defense. For Washington, Carpenter, as you might expect, with Ridley and Miller out against this high-paced Islander forward line. King with a pass that's tipped by Turgeon. Cabarracci started out of the net. Johansson gave it away. Turgeon couldn't control it. King does, and he lost it on the end board. Steve Thomas battling for it. King is there as well. It comes all the way back to Troop. In around behind the net for Turgeon. Centers it out in front. Thomas tips it to the point. This is Troop to Norton. Closes in. Shoots one. Cabarracci the save. And Hatcher is able to play it up off the glass and out of the zone.
Again, I point out the fact that the Washington Capitals do not leave loose pucks around for Islanders to get a hold of.
Caps went for a player change here, and the Islanders are trying to do the same after having dumped it in. And the Caps quickly come around to the right side. Cote's pass was tipped. He got it right back again. Gave it to Fraidy, who's over the line. Now Bondra off the right side. Centered one that hit Fraidy. Christian for the shot. Healy got the blocker on that. Here Turgeon backhands it into the center ice zone. Holt moves up. Fraidy was there to clear it, and now Ray Ferraro dumps it right back in, and the Islanders get onside. We played just over 4 minutes of the second overtime period. Fraidy to Cote. Missed Bondra with the pass, and there's Pasty. Bondra moved in. Pasty moves it to Ho. Now to Ferraro. He's got a goal in this game. The pass to Flatley. Plays it in around the end board. Cabarracci played it right back to Ferraro and looking the way to get to him. Now Johansson trying to move it out. Ferraro to Ho. He gets checked. Kristich had it jabbed away by Molokov, and Cabarracci very alertly stopped that. From back of the net, Ferraro's wrap around won't go. The Cats get it to the line. Pasty holds it in with a shot that's blocked. Kopavanka starting out of the zone. In the center where Pasty was waiting for it. Got it back in. Both teams in the middle of some changes. The Caps move it outside the line. Hold, flips it back in. Ferraro gets the play onside again. The Islanders continue to complete their player changes as Fitzgerald moves into forecheck. Loose puck in front of the Islander players' bench. Turgeon gave it to Cruz. Backs in with Ellyn coming in on him. The pass off Fitzgerald. No, he did not touch it. They rule. We'll get a nicing call. All the way back into the Islanders zone for a face-off.
Hard to believe, but the pace is still there. The team's putting all out. Both teams very disciplined at changing on the fly. Here's the Islanders forechecking of Ray Ferraro. Watch him come out this side of the net as he tries to wrap around. Tabaracci kicked it away, and again, the Washington Capitals able to control the loose pucks around the front of the net. That was the dish off to Cavallini. There, Ferraro grabbed it, stole it from him, and then here, with an opportunity for a wraparound, Ferraro got tripped up behind. He couldn't get his body far enough out to get his arms out there. Again, you look at that same play, and just as he started out, you see his left leg got pulled up by Cavallini. That prevented him from getting to the front of the net.
Nighty night time for some. An exciting moment for the rest. Crowd earlier tonight was 15,421. We watched Claude Loisel dump the puck in off the end boards. Fitzgerald after it. Got checked. This is Todd Krieger. Turgeon had started in, got pulled back by Hatcher. Krieger to Ellyn. Out it goes to Hunter at center ice. Dale Hunter behind the back feed. Ellyn chases it into the zone. Krupp is there to pick him up. Ellyn bumps solidly. Loose puck behind the net. In and out of the skates of Krupp. It goes to Fitzgerald. He's tapped it outside the line. Turgeon races after it. Nudged it on into the Washington zone, but Hatcher gets back. Gave it away to Fitzgerald. Tommy Fitzgerald can't get it back to Kasparaitis. Big hit delivered by Kasparaitis after Fitzgerald had been knocked down. And Malakov takes it all the way back into the Islanders zone to reset the play. Up he comes. Vladimir Malakov to Brian Mullen. Down the boards it goes. Tabaracci puts it in the open corner. Mullen comes racing in after it. Shot right on. Delgado just shot one wide after taking it from Tabaracci, and out comes a Washington Caps. That's Randy Burridge. Pasty took him off his skates. A backhander from the side of the net. Blocked as May got it on target. This is Mullen. Brian Mullen. The only acquisition that the Islanders made in last offseason has slapped it around the boards. There's Brad Delgarno. He got bumped by Alan May. Fraidy moves it on to Cote. Cote looks up ice. The pass is to Burridge. Up ahead is Jones as Burridge slams it in around the boards. Jones and Delgarno after it. It spins loose, and Travis Green gets it out of the Islanders' end. Cavallini trying to shoot it right back in, put it out of play.
So important for both teams that their fourth line, third and fourth lines perform well, because now the coaches have to use them regularly. They've got to give the Pierre Turgeons, the Thomases, the Kings a little extra rest as this game goes a little longer, so the confidence in the young players has to be there. Take a look. Brad Delgarno tried to get the puck to Travis Green here. There's the play. Delgarno across. Green just got too close, and he was checked by Hatcher as he tried to jam the puck into the net.
See where the face-off is in the center ice zone. Ridley and Turgeon on the draw, and the Caps come away with it. Hatcher on the right wing. Slaps it right on. Healy out to handle it after making the stop. Norton with it back in the net. Norton and Kasparaitis on defense. Turgeon centering for Thomas and King. Kasparaitis tipped the puck. Ridley plays it around behind the net. We've had a total of 100 shots on goal in this hockey game. 4-4 tie. Carpenter puts the puck deep in the Islanders zone. Glenn Healy with Darius Kasparaitis. Islanders' #1 draft pick. Entry draft of 1992. Darius Kasparaitis to Steve Thomas. The New York Islanders through center. Thomas with a rip. Just missed the net. Thomas in after it. Bumped off the puck by Kevin Hatcher. On to Kelly Miller. Carpenter cuts through the middle. Ridley moves up the right side, but the puck is loose, and it's also offside against Washington.
What a blast by Steve Thomas, trying to end it with one shot from outside the blue line. But Tabaracci, not a goaltender that I would expect you could beat with a shot like that by anybody from the blue line. More importantly, I suppose Thomas, knowing that, he's trying to keep it low. It was a good low, hard shot. What he's trying to do is maybe force Tabaracci to make the save, kick out a rebound that he was in full flight looking for.
Now Ferraro with Flatley and Hogue out against Babanka, Kristich, and Bondra. Long shot from center as the Caps get it into the Islanders zone. Bondra taking Pasty to the boards. Ferraro back, trying to tie up Babanka. Did a nice job of it. Babanka slips away from the check, put it in front. Oh, it didn't go past the goal line. Now it's centered across again. Fraidy, freezing flatly, moves in back to the net. This is Pavanka trying to come out in front. Centered. Healy makes the save and holds on.
Look at Ray Ferraro as he looks down at the ice and says, oh no, that puck hit him and deflected. Healy was there to bail him out once again. What a stop by Healy. Got himself in the right position, and the Washington Capitals pick up the tempo. Little Pavanka behind the net. There he goes out, passes it, and hits Ferraro. Look at the goalpost to your right. Ferraro with his hand on it stops the play, pitches the puck out, close call as Pavanka, Vondra, and Kristich get things going for the Washington Capitals. Kristich with a good chance there, stopped by Healy. There's Kristich as he moved it to the front of the net the second time. Here Flatley tries to block a shot. Fraidy, good job by faking, held the puck, kept the play alive, and it was that play that you saw moments ago that went off. Ray Ferraro almost got behind Healy.
8 minutes and 19 seconds played in the second sudden death overtime period. All start on the face-off between Pavanka and Travis Green. And we have hit midnight in the East, 12:01 as a matter of fact. Officially, have a curfew? Oh, yes. We've been at this a long time. The game that began at 7:40 has drifted on into Wednesday morning. Caps get the draw. Cavallini right on, and Healy's got that. Up under the right arm.
Again, the Washington Capitals come up with an excellent draw, clean draw, back to this left point position. Take a look, Travis Green, he was a little off balance. That's how Pavanka was able to spear the puck from him, and Cavallini got a rip at it. Glenn Healy with a good look. The Islanders keeping the Washington Capitals that time away from the front of the net.
Oh, but again, the Caps get the draw. Cavallini stumbling in the corner. Molotov, with some help from his teammates, able to move it around. Cote comes to the right point. Gets it back in the net. There's Pavanka. Kristich moving in. Drags it away from Kasparaitis. Kristich on a sharp turn to Pavanka. The backhander hit the side of the net. Now it's Kasparaitis trying to come up the left wing. Has Green up ahead, flips it over his head. It lands in the Washington zone, and Cabaracci comes up to play it. Hard around the glass, into the skates of Mullins. To the corner, but there's Cavallini. He'll flip it up in the air, and that will land and bounce to the Islanders zone. Bobby Fitzgerald, who has just come out on the player change, moves it across ice. Mullen into the zone, runs into Cote, and Sean Anderson back to the puck. Give it to Randy Burridge over on the left side. Burridge to May. Both teams going with some reserves here. Backboard now is Norton. Norton to Turgeon. He dumps it in. Sean Anderson got it out. It hit Loisel. He dumped it right back in. Fitzgerald after it, but there's Hatcher. Up to Burridge, couldn't handle it. There Turgeon being double shifted, playing with Fitzgerald and Loisel just now. To Norton, to Loisel, tipped toward Fitzgerald. Jones gets a stick on it for the Caps. Heath Jones, who scored some big late season goals. He dumps it in. There's Burridge over the left. He let it go back to Anderson. Nice play by Krupp to knock that out of the air. Good hand-eye coordination, and the Islanders are still in the zone, holding down as Fitzgerald get it out. Caps promptly put it back in. Hay chasing Norton. This line for the Caps has kept the tempo high. Norton plays it through center, through Hatcher. Ferraro, drives in on him. In comes Flatley as well, but there's Krieger around to Johansson. Ellie Johansson sends Hunter out on the left side. Ellyn moves up ahead. The shot hits Pasty at the blue line and is brought back by Molotov. On to Flatley. Flatley with a rip that's just wide of the net. Vladimir Molotov trying to center it. Ends up in the corner instead. Patrick Flatley. Back to Molotov. He gets checked, and out of the zone comes Krieger, only to be checked by Flatley. Meantime, Cote forces him down the ice, and Pasty will go back. Pasty turns. Hunter comes in on him. And it's Pasty. Played it through Todd Krieger onto Hogue, and the Islanders clear it out. Hanson waits before shooting it back in. Washington slowly getting the play back on side. Here's Hunter, but he's checked by Molotov, who goes down to the deck. Hit from Hunter.
Thinking of these kinds of hockey games where Washington Capitals involved makes me think back to John Bruce. Remember the year he had with all of the goals that he scored, important goals for the Washington Capitals, and they traded him away.
They got Pat Ellyn instead. Here's Thomas with a shot. Handshot Cabaracci, but he was still able to get enough of it. Kasparaitis on the right wing boards gets checked. Norton covers up at center ice. Turgeon, Thomas and King for the Islanders. Norton with a pass that's through King. It will result in an icing. 8 minutes and 29 seconds left in the second sudden death overtime period.
No quitters here, not Fraidy. He gets a lot more ice time.
Well, as we watch here in Toronto, we have reached another overtime playoff milestone watching in Landover.
It's now the longest overtime game in the playoffs since May 15th, 1990, when Edmonton's Peter Klima came off the bench in the Stanley Cup final against the Boston Bruins to beat the Bruins 3-2.
But it's a long way to go to the 4 overtime periods the Capitals and the Islanders played 6 years ago in Game 7. Let's take you back there now live to Landover, Jiggs McDonald and Eddie Westfall.
30-year-old Glenn Healy played 47 games for the Islanders in the regular season, winning 22 and 20 losses and 2 ties, 3.30 goals against average. Rick Cabaracci came over here in a deal just prior to the trading deadline from Winnipeg. Got into 6 games, the starter in 5, and with a record in 5 that included 2 shutout victories, 3-2-0, and 1.75 goals against average. That's the reason he got the start. Beginning of the playoffs, it ruffled a few feathers around here, including those naturally of backup goaltender Don Beaupre.
Not a high-priced goaltender either when you think that Cabaracci will make $380,000 next year on his contract.
Glenn Healy, of course, playing out his option, hoping that he'll be able to get a new deal for some higher numbers. The Islanders general manager Don Maloney with a lot of players to sign in the offseason. Here's Cote after the Caps have won the draw. Putt played around the boards. Kasparaitis chasing it, trying to get it away from Bondra. Casper turns, picked up by Pavanka. The Caps try to center, but Travis Green slapped it back, and Delgarno comes up the right wing board. On the Green. Green puts it deep in the Washington zone. Cabaracci turns it toward Cote, who would come back. Sylvain Cote got away from Delgarno. Over the Islander line with a pass to the left side. That's Bondra centering, and it ends up back of the net. Huey Krupp lost it. Here's Pavanka. Trying to get it out in front. Does. Cote makes the turn, centered, but Green is there to clear it. Back goes Cavallini.
Washington spending a little more time in the Islanders' end than Al Arbor wants to see them.
Back over the line again. Cavallini held it at the line and then shot it wide. It'll be picked up by Derek King. King trying to play it away from Miller. Forces it through center ice, but not into the Washington zone. Then Ridley dropped it back, and here's Hatcher. Johansson, who comes to center, and aren't around the boards. Will come to the left wing. Ridley and King are there. So is Turgeon, and the Islanders clear it out. Hatcher once more to Johansson. Down the ice it goes. Group to chase it. Coming in is Miller. He took a dive off the end of the board. Eric King with it now on the left side. Handle the puck with the pass to Krupp. Up to Turgeon, but too far. Hatcher plays it towards center ice. Up steps Derek King. He's over the line with Turgeon and Thomas. Thomas shoots Cabaracci to 6 saves. King takes it back in the net. Derek King hung up here with Pat Ellyn. That allows Carpenter to feed it out to Hatcher. A big defenseman into the zone. Kasparaitis jolts him off in the long shot. Turned aside routinely by Healy. He's got an outlet to Turgeon with 1 man back. It's Fraidy. Jumping up in the play is Bolakov. The shot's right on and blocked. Turgeon from back of the net. Taken to the boards heavily by Hatcher. The Caps get it out of the zone. Ellyn to Ridley, but the pass out of his reach, and Bolakov finds Thomas at the Washington line. He has dumped it in. Ho goes racing in. There's Fraidy around to Ellyn. And Ellyn clears it out. Back on it is Norton. Hunter moving up on him. Norton works it across. This is Dennis Pasty. Now to Jeff Norton. Norton moving it through the air down into the Washington zone. Icing waved off. Cote in the exchange here with Rick Cabaracci. He's played more than 14 minutes of a second sudden death overtime period. Up with it is Krieger. He's over the line. Nice hit check thrown by Pasty. The puck centered across in front. Nobody there for the Caps, and it's Flatley leading the rush for the Islanders. Long pass missed by Hogue. Picks it up now. Makes the turn and played it away from Hunter. Up the right side goes Flatley. Down Jones. The feed to Ferraro is tipped, and Cote slaps it up ahead to Hunter. Down to Krieger. Krieger over the line. Jones goes to the front of the net, but the pass just out of his reach. Steve Jones trying to center, gave it to Hunter, laid it out in front. Krieger is checked on the play, and up comes Ray Ferraro. Mullen with him on the right side. A nice little lay-in pass. Mullen shoots. Tabaracci the save. They score! Ray Ferraro! Islanders 5, Capitals 4 at 12:09 on Wednesday morning.
14 minutes and 50 seconds of the second overtime period. Ray Ferraro is able to do what the Washington Capitals have done so many times in the first two games. Jam a loose puck in around the net. Are they going to call for a replay? I don't think so. It is. Here's a replay. Let's take a look at it. What a move by Mullen as he picked up the puck, guarded it. He got the shot away. Tabaracci turned. The puck was loose. Here comes Ferraro. Cavallini tried to hold him up. There's the puck as it bounced into the net. The goal by Ray Ferraro. The Islanders, as Jiggs McDonald had predicted the score of the game being 5-4. Who was it going to be? As Mullen made the play, a beauty. Watch the goal line. There's Ray Ferraro as he jammed the puck in. Cavallini got up to complain. No complaints, the referee said. The puck was in. It was loose. Look at that beautiful layout pass as Brian Mullen grabbed the puck. He protected it with his body. Beautiful play at the net. Good stuff by Tabaracci. And here's the loose puck as it slowly squirted loose. Ray Ferraro jammed it in before any whistles blew, and the Islanders have tied the series at 1 game apiece.
They're announcing the goal as Brian Mullen. Our replays clearly show it being Ray Ferraro putting it in the net. And the goal at 14:50.
Team on the spot as we get set for sudden death in Game 3, and the Canadiens trailing this series 2-0 in 7 previous playoff overtimes between Montreal and Quebec. The Nordiques have won 6.
And another Scot was the hero in Game 1, Scott Young. Anybody can be a hero. And interesting, if you run down the National Hockey League guys, the total list of overtime goal scorers in playoff competition, there are some interesting names. Their moment in the sun, if you will. But the pressure, Scott Pearson talking about the Nordiques having fun and relax, I can understand that. There's no problem in that. The Canadiens want to take some of that fun away from them. I mean, if they're having fun now, they'll be hilarious if they win this game.
Sundin, Huff, and Kamensky for Quebec. It's Muller for the Canadiens diving after it in the Quebec zone with John Leclerc and Brian Bellows. Adam Foote tried to pick up the puck. Kept in by Desjardins. Swept aside by Hextall. And now Sundin with some open ice will skate to center. 4 Nordiques at center ice. Kamensky misses the pass on left wing. Valerie Kamensky just dumping it in, and Brisebois for the Canadiens. Bellows. The guy that scores here will be a hero all summer, and the guy who makes a mistake could be a goat for just as long or longer. Bellows. Total line pinching in. Leclerc behind the goal. Centers it. Hextall down. Muller takes the shot. Leclerc pulled down, and play continues. Now the forum erupts as Nordiques come back. Sundin and Kamensky. That failed to click at the end of a shift, and the Canadiens start back out with Dom Foose. Montreal with the first good chance on goal. Dom Foose after it. Poke checked, and he heads to the bench. That almost hit Bellows, an extra man on the ice, as he was headed to the bench on a late line change. Offside is the call. We've got an update, and here's Scott.
Chris, we may have overtime all over the National Hockey League tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs. The Islanders have fought back to tie the Washington Capitals. Steve Thomas does yeoman service. He sets up Pierre Turgeon, number 77. His third goal of the playoffs. Less than a minute left. It's 3-3, the Islanders and Caps.
Looks like Pierre Turgeon's getting rid of that playoff jinx that haunted him when he was in Buffalo. Didn't play in the playoffs last year. Islanders didn't make it. He's having a fine series so far. So it's the Canadiens under the gun, no question about it, on home ice in overtime.
Canadiens getting the first chance, so the fans thought that John LeClair had been hauled down in front of the Nordiques net and that there should have been a penalty. There was one penalty in the overtime in game one. Ramage double team, but gets it down the ice, and icing's the call as Ramage had not crossed the red line. A face-off deep in the Canadian zone.
Well, the point was the man there, again, as he has been so often for Quebec, defensively in the neutral zone, and pretty well caused the icing. So we get an important face-off, and aren't they all in overtime? The Canadiens jumped right on the Nordiques, so Chris, in the first minute, we mentioned how they didn't do that in the first minute of the third period after having a fine second period, but they had that close call. Every one of these face-offs now in somebody's end of the rink is a big one in overtime.
Paget hoping to drop the winning goal. There's a tricky shot from the side of the rink, and Patrick Roy hangs on. Rosinsky with the wrist shot.
Winning the face-off. Sakic's done very well in that regard tonight. So Demers makes a change. And Belanger, basically a raw rookie. First Stanley Cup game.
Against Sakic, and Belanger does the job. Desjardins behind the goal. Dom Foose, Belanger, and Keane, Ramage. Belanger to the bench, and LeBeau is now out. Rusinski, Sakic, and Kovalenko on right wing. Andrei Kovalenko trying to cut it against Desjardins, and he just rolled it wide. Crashing into Wha, and the net goes ajar. And they say Kovalenko can cut in off the wing as good as anybody on their team.
He's had moments of terrific speed for Quebec against Montreal. One of the first times in tonight's game, maybe the first the net's been knocked askew. And here's the reason why. Kovalenko covered a little too closely by Desjardins, and the puck went wide, and the net went off the mark. So he is back in the lineup tonight, his first playoff game, as you've mentioned, and he does add that dimension. You just saw it. They've got so many quick forwards.
Nordiques brass feels he has a chance to be a star as well. He led the scoring at the World Junior Championship in Finland a few years back, but was overshadowed by a teammate by the name of Bure. Minute 54 gone in the overtime, and an anxious moment at either end so far. Sundin and Muller, and Muller kicks it free. Up to Bellows. He sends it in. John LeClair, first man after it. Behind the net, Bellows trying to sweep in front. Here's LeClair, traffic jam in front. They shoot, and it went through the goal crease behind Hextall and out the other way. Bad break there for the Canadiens. They got it behind Hextall, but not in. At the line, they get crossed up. Gusarov out to center, breeze ball right back in. Benoit Brunet, Muller to the net, and it was broken up by Gusarov. Back comes Quebec. Scott Young turns back. Now feeds ahead. Missed LaPointe with the pass, and Breezeball rolls it inside the line. Ricci, LaPointe, and Young. This was the line that produced the overtime winner game one. Gary Lehman didn't play game one. Flips it cross ice. Greg Wolanin there for Quebec. Gusarov. Breakaway pass behind LaPointe. This will be icing if Daniel gets to it first, and he does.
I wonder if Jacques Demers is starting to question, is it really in the cards for us in overtime? In game one, Kevin Haller hit the goalpost. The puck went behind Hextall and over the stick of Brian Bellows. And right here, as you mentioned, the puck, we'll take a look at it here. It's John LeClair through the crease, through the legs. Look at that, right across the line, it seems, and out the other side. And you can't get it any closer than that. And Ron Hextall and the Nordiques dodge a bullet early in this first overtime period. You see the puck here in this one. There's a traffic jam. LeClair swings it around, and well, maybe not right on the line. The other angle looked that way, but close enough.
Muller on the face-off against Sundin. LeClair through a maze of legs. Loose. Bellows. Oh, a big stop rebound. Still loose. And they can't get it past Ron Hextall.
And I say it again. Demers must be saying, is it in the cards for us to score in overtime? Because they have had the chances through the first 3 minutes and 13 seconds of this overtime period, and here's another wild one. And it's just a case of trying to follow the bouncing puck and the flopping goaltender. And Ron Hextall hangs in somehow in this sequence, and the Canadiens can't put it by him.
Brilliant save against Bellows, and then the pile up in pursuit of the rebound. Watch the glove by Hextall.
Well, the fans got to appreciate the effort the Canadiens are giving it here. And by that time, with the puck free at the top of your screen, the whistle had gone.
Bill McCreary just over to the Quebec bench as the Nordiques try a late change.
Well, let's look at what's happened around the eastern part of the NHL playoff mat. The Penguins win again. They're up 3-zip in overtime now at the Nassau Coliseum, 3-3. In overtime in Buffalo, 3-3. In overtime here in Montreal, 1-1.
Desjardins batting it out of midair, and it's called on the high stick.
Yeah, that's a strange stat that you mentioned, Chris. 7 times these teams in their playoff meetings have gone into overtime, and only once has Montreal won the game. Matt Naslund was a drifting long shot on Mario Gosselin in 1987. And the Canadiens won that one.
We saw Dale Hunter's overtime winner in our opening. Muller kicks the feet out from under Sundin. Bellows hit Gusarov as he tried to clear it in. Now Muller will carry in. Around Kamensky. In the corner, bodied by Huff. He kicks it loose. Bellows shooting wide. Had some room on the far side, and it goes all the way back into the Canadian zone. Desjardins off the boards, out to center. Craig Wha-Ho ahead to Kamensky. Mike Huff checked by Dion. Down goes Dion. Wha-Ho backhands it into the Montreal zone. 4 minutes gone in the overtime period. Brisebois ahead. Bellows reached for it. Went by everybody. And Duchesne plays it around the boards for Gusarov. Denny Savard checked by Gusarov. Owen Nolan clearing it into the Montreal zone. J.J. Daigneault's back. Off the boards ahead to Denny, and it goes over his stick. Curtis Lasician speeds ahead. Owen Nolan, nice pass to Sakic, back to Nolan, who clears it in. Kovalenko's out on right wing. Kovalenko knocked it behind the goal, and it comes around to Savard. He flips to center ice. Duchesne whacks at it, and it goes back in. Ramage kept in by Nolan. Daigneault another try. Outlets on left wing to Dion and Savard. Denny Savard across the line. Back pass didn't go through. Gets another chance right in on goal. And Dion was providing the screen. Another shot that didn't look that harmless. Dangerous, but McCreary goes down. Fans react. Savard, LeBeau, shot wide. Desjardins moving up. Can't keep it in, and here's Kovalenko. His lead pass for Sundin just missed. Canadiens wheel out with Domfus. Domfus tripped up by Finn. LeBeau hit the side of the net, and now it's Chris Simon. Just rolling it at center ice. Brisebois there. Banks it off the boards. Wha-Ho to Sundin. He'll turn back and wind up. Sundin to the line. Can't break through. Cavallini tied up by Carpenter. And Desjardins leads the Canadiens to center ice. Here's Desjardins to the line. Shot right on. Rebound. Carpenter rolled it wide. Bouncing puck, and Carpenter missed the target. Mike Ricci's back. Ricci for the Nordiques. We're in overtime at the Forum. Steve Finn at the point. His shot blocked. Keane whacks at it. Lapointe is after it. Cavallini being hooked. Lapointe looking for it behind the goal. Ricci has it. Steve Finn sneaking in from the point. Finn was alone in front for a moment, but the Canadiens get it out. overtime. Odeline clears it in for Montreal. Brunet is after it. Hit by Lasician. Mike Huff. Intercepted by Lehman. Hextall sweeps it around the boards. There's Young in the middle for Sakic. That missed, and Rob Ramage, the veteran defenseman. Off the boards, Lasician clearing it into the Montreal zone. There's Desjardins. Out to Lehman. Left wing Brunet with speed. Sharp angle, hit the post. LeBeau rolled it wide. Lehman can't get the shot away. 3 cracks at it. The Canadiens can't put it in. Benoit Brunet with a rocket off the outside of the post. Lehman turns. Brunet again with LeBeau. 2-on-1. In front. Off the board. They score.
We're going to have an argument. The Nordiques are going to argue that the stick was over the shoulder. The referee pointed to the puck in the net, but hang on. Just hang on. McCreary is motioning to the benches. Wait a minute. Jack Demers, he's doing what he has to do. He's getting his team off the ice. But wait a minute, folks. This is going to be a close call. This one's going to the video replay judge. Now, you just knew this had to happen sometime in sudden death overtime. Stéphane LeBeau, where's the stick? Oh, yeah,
No
it's
doubt.
over the shoulder. No question.
No doubt about
It's over
it.
the shoulder. That goal's not going to count. That goal should not count. The point is, did it hit LeBeau's stick or did it hit the Quebec defenseman? Now, you can't tell from there. Did he really touch the puck, or was it Joe Sakic?
Or was it Ron Hextall?
Yeah. That's the only out that the Canadiens might have here, if we can see it clearly. But this thing isn't over yet. Now, does LeBeau touch the puck? Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
They'll have to bring the Canadiens back. Only Denny Savard is on the ice. Well, that's our opinion. We'll wait for the official.
Well, the video replay judge is Carlton McDermott, and Wally Harris, who was the man on the phone, has ruled that the goal has been disallowed in sudden death overtime. But there's not much doubt about it. Take a look again. LeBeau, the puck deflects high. LeBeau's stick goes high. He did a good job to make contact with it, actually. But it's no goal.
Dick, that wasn't just over the shoulder. It was over his head.
Yeah. And we're going to have quite a delay here because the fans, in their exuberance, thinking that the home team had won in OT, littered the ice from one end of the forum surface to the other. And we're going to have a delay here while the maintenance men do their thing and clean up after the disallowed goal. But there wasn't any doubt about it. And again, Jacques Demers is asking, is it in the cards in overtime? It has been a wild overtime. The Canadiens have had, in overtime, 8 shots. The Nordiques have had 1. And Pierre Pagé with a smile. The Nordiques celebrated. I mean, you asked for a lift. They've got a big one here, but I don't think, you didn't see the Canadiens argue the point. In fact, that's why Demers got the team off the ice fast. Do everything you can, guys, to make it look like we scored. But the modern introduction of technology into the NHL did in the Canadiens that time, and there wasn't any doubt about it.
We do have an overtime decided elsewhere. Let's join Scott.
Chris, while we were trying to decide if the Canadiens had scored or not in overtime, here in Buffalo, the Sabres win a faceoff. Pat LaFontaine, Dale Howardchuk stopped by John Blue. This is less than a minute in. A knuckleball, it's in the net. Dale Howardchuk scores 4-3 Buffalo. They have a 3-0 series lead over the Boston Bruins.
I tell you, that isn't just a surprise. That's a shock. If you judge from the way those teams finished the regular season. You know the old story, finished the regular season on a roll like Minnesota 2 years ago. It doesn't work in that one because the Sabres lost their last 7 and Boston won their last 10 or 12, whatever, almost. Now, here's Demers. This is after the goal went in, and he knows that there's going to be an argument, and he knows there's going to be a video replay check. And he's telling his guys, come on, let's go. Benoit Brunet was injured, you know, when all the celebration was going on by the Canadiens. He was down on the ice, and he got up very gingerly. So now this is live as the Canadiens are back on the bench. And then all this is finished, and the debris is scraped up. Play will resume with a face-off in the Nordic zone.
We're told that they have given the winning goal in Buffalo to Yuri Himalev. John Muckler often said Grant Fuhr could win you a series by himself, but he's not doing it just by himself, Dick. It's been a great effort by the Sabres.
But when they made the trade, the word was, well, they want to win at least one playoff series this year. They haven't done it since 1982 when they beat Montreal in 3 straight. There's another look at the high stick that LeBeau used to knock the puck in the net. The fellow who was the hero of that series, Bob Sauvé, in the best of 3, is here tonight. He works as a commentator on the Soirée de Hockey. Scotty Bowman was coaching the Buffalo Sabres in that particular time. So, Jacques Demers and the Canadiens have to regroup. I don't know, Chris, what the aftermath is to something like this, actually to face off the outside the blue line. You know, who's the team that has to do the most regrouping? I would think it's the team that was deprived of what looked like the winning goal, but they're not. They know they can't argue the point. Now the Canadiens got to say, okay, it's been all Montreal in this overtime, as the shots would show, and that's a good indication of how the play has gone. They're the ones, I think, who now have to regroup much more so than Quebec does.
Be interesting to find out if Bill McCreary would have allowed that goal without video replay.
Oh, that's the question you ask all the time in those cases. And the referees are so emphatic at the time, and then it's changed for them by the fellas upstairs. But that time there was no question.
We are back underway. Steve Finn for the Nordiques. Canadiens have had all the chances so far. Here's Ricci in, centers it in front, and the Nordiques now go to the attack with a second win. Spin at the point. Wrist shot wide, reaching for it at the side of the net. Young coming out in front, takes the shot, kicked out, big stop. Patrick Waugh down, and a high shot goes wide and will go all the way down the ice. That one just missed.
Got Young on the verge of being a hero the second time in overtime in this series.
Keane hit by Lapointe, and Lapointe wins the puck. Here's Young again. Scott Young, shot right on. Patrick Waugh has it in front of him.
It looks like that's what happened, Chris. The Nordiques get a big break, and not a big break. They got the decision in their way, as it should have been, and now they're the ones that seem to have a little more spring in the legs. The Canadiens had it through the first part of this overtime. What a hockey game here tonight. We hope you are enjoying it. Coast to coast on Hockey Night in Canada. And remember, tomorrow night, more playoff action from Toronto, Winnipeg, and Los Angeles. With that shot from the sharp angle by Young. And Roy knocked down, reached for the high shot, but it missed the net.
That high shot just missed Bill McCreary, who was ducking on the play. 11:25 to go, first overtime period. At the point, Foot missed by a couple of feet. Sakic to Kovalenko. Rusinski has it now, circles, shoots right on, rebound, kicked out. Back at the point, Lasician knocked down, and the Canadiens finally come out. Gilbert Dion, their first assault, missed the disallowed goal, shot right on. Brunet reaching for the rebound. Rusinski against Dion, who scoops it behind the goal. Brunet dodges a check from Lasician. Back to the point. Daigneault shooting. Just rolled off Hextall wide. Lasician. Left wing feed for Rusinski. Brisebois there for the Canadiens. Up ahead it goes to Dion. Gilbert Dion tries it loose for Bellows. Bellows knocked down. Penalty coming up against Quebec.
Lasician lays a two-hander on Brian Bellows, and so with 9 minutes and 26 seconds gone in this first overtime period, the Canadiens, for the second time in this series, will have a power play in overtime. game, it was the only power play they had all night. Bellows went down, and he was grimacing, favoring his right hand or arm as he goes to the bench. Bingo! There's the crack that he takes from Leschyshyn, who's now gone for 2. And Bellows is getting some attention from the Canadiens. Physical therapist, Kate Lefebvre. Look at it here. Bellows makes the move toward the board. So now, Canadiens, who on balance have dominated this overtime period, get a chance to dominate in the manpower department. But they have to be careful, because the Nordiques can score shorthanded goals.
Brian Bellows in discomfort at the Canadiens bench. John Shipman, Gaetan Lefebvre watching him. As the Canadiens go on the power play, as you see, 1 for 5. Damphousse shooting. That hit the post. Hit the outside of the post through a maze of lengths. Sakic sprawling. Arici can't. Here's Hextall. He has it in his pads and hangs on. And Muller knocks Wha-Ho down in front of the net.
Bellows still being looked at the Canadiens bench. Now he says, I'm okay. I saw him nod his head, and he's coming onto the ice. Take a look at that last one. Muller trying to create some havoc in front of Hextall. Almost succeeds in doing it. He and Wha-Ho hammering one another, former teammates with New Jersey. And the faceoff will be in the Quebec zone. All of that through the first 19 seconds of the Curtis Leschyshyn 2-minute penalty for a slash.
Dirk Muller scored on the power play in the second period. That's the only shot that's beaten Ron Hextall. Officially. Kicked free by Muller to Brisebois. Here's the shot. Just went wide. Rebound. Comes out to the blue line, and Lapointe sends it down. Brian Bellows back on the ice. 10 minutes into the sudden overtime period. Muller hit by Lapointe, slowed up. It's in his skates. Comes free for Damphousse. Gusarov checks him. He is cool, they say. Sometimes they got to check his pulse, because under pressure-packed situations, he'll act so nonchalant. Gusarov, number 5, out on defense with Adam Foote. Cleared in. Damphousse. Nice move! Shooting right on! They score!
And Hextall's wild again. Hextall going after McCreary big time. I would think that the puck was kicked in. Jubilation at the Forum and throughout the Montreal area. The Canadiens are back in the series. And Ron Hextall's argument continues. This time it will fall upon deaf ears. Let's join Scott Russell.
Chris, tomorrow night, Molson Hockey Night in Canada. Detroit at Toronto to the east. The Wings lead that series by 2 games. And then Vancouver at Winnipeg to Manitoba and British Columbia. We get word now that this game is not over. There will be an argument, and there will be a video replay. Chris?
Muller was there. I'm not so... Was it his skate or Gusarov's skate? And was it kicked or was it a deflection? Now, what does McCreary do this time? And it's good.
A goal. Have you ever seen a finish like this? Oh, Patrick was a hero tonight. He outdueled Hextall tonight, although both were brilliant. Hextall's still heated up, and he better be careful. Ronnie better be careful. Pierre Paget's over. But this is a brand new series on the goal.
We got all kinds of things happening here. A fan tried to jump on the ice, and the gendarmes at the Forum hauled him off. Now here's Hextall finally barging through the gate in high dudgeon. Paget's mad, but the Canadiens have won.
10:30, time of the goal. Kirk Muller's second of the game. And Vincent Damphousse will get an assist, and the argument persists on the ice.
That was the 50th Montreal shot of the hockey game, and the 12th in overtime. It's 2-1 final.
Wild night. Patrick Wall and the Canadiens are back in the Battle of Quebec. Let's join Scott.